Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Welcome, everyone. You may be looking at the day of the week and saying, oh, hold on a second. Today is Monday. Why are TJ and the grumpy old man going live on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, you may be wondering? Yes, it is because there has been a huge trade made by the New York Islanders. But before we start diving too much into that, the ramifications it has as well, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice-a-week All-Islanders podcast that takes place every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. We also do have a secondary podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It is an all sports podcast that takes place every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could find that in the link in the description below or as a featured page here on our YouTube channel. We talk anything and everything sports on that show. We talk NHL, NFL, college athletics, MLB, NBA, world football. We talk anything and everything sports on that show called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. But what brings us to the show tonight, Grumpy Old Man, the Islanders have made a trade. Lou Lamoriello has made a trade. He has traded away Anthony Beauvillier, a conditional 2023 first-round pick, Aatu Raty, for Bo Horvat.
And Anthony Beauvillier. Did you mention him too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That was the trade. What does it mean? What do you think it means, TJ?
Well, here's the thing. I've got a few things I want to mention about it. Man, what this does, I kind of feel as a fan, I feel defeated. As what we talk about on the show, I feel defeated a bit. Kind of like zaps all the hope and a life out of what we had hoped for with a quick retool, right? We've been talking about this. If Lou Lamoriello was wise and smart, we could retool and be right back to a playoff contender and a possible cup contender in 2 or 3 years if we did it the right way. Now with this current move, the retool is gone. You cannot do a retool. It's a full-on rebuild, which means you may have to trade away guys like Sorokin, which means you may have to trade away guys like Dobson.
Or you just suck. Or you just suck like we have for 30 years, 40 years. You just suck as a franchise. That's what Lou Lamoriello has turned the franchise into today. He traded for, and here's the thing. I give the trade a D. I give it a D. The only reason I give it a D is because maybe he resigns. But why would we possibly have a resign there? They talked to his agent. Do you have a posting on it? Just put it up. Before I go too crazy, I just want all the facts out before I go too crazy.
Renee Lavoie, and I'm butchering that first name, I'm sure, but Renard Lavoie says Bo Horvat said that his agent and the New York Islanders did not discuss contract extensions to facilitate this transaction.
So let's say when you have loser Lamoriello in charge, how much money is he going to offer Bo Horvat? Is Bo Horvat going to want to stay? When he looks at a roster of guys in their mid-30s, he's already been there. He's been there, done that in Vancouver. Been there, done that. He doesn't want to play for a loser. Why would he want to come here to this team? We are a loser. This franchise is a loser franchise. We are a loser franchise. That's what we are. I give it a D only because, yes, maybe he resigns here and because I love the player, okay? If he doesn't resign, they haven't even invented a negative enough letter for me to even put on this trade. It's going to be a letter to be named later, not A through Z. It's something that hasn't been invented for failure and loserdom. That's where we're at. That's where this team is at.
God almighty.
Why would Bo Horvat sign back here? Why would he?
Here's the thing. I think he'll sign here, but I have an issue.
Let's go where I would.
I have an issue with the precedent this sets. Do you remember?
What did I say? I wanted him in a trade. I didn't mind, but I didn't want to give up two things. Aatu Raty and a first-round draft pick. The first-round draft pick, absolutely off the table. This jackass gives them both. And Anthony Beauvillier. We mentioned Beauvillier.
Beauvillier had to go.
No. Here's the thing. What happened today? We got fleeced by the most dysfunctional organization in the NHL right now, the Vancouver Canucks.
I do agree with that.
They can't keep any of their guys. They don't know how to treat them for the medical staff. The whole team is a dumpster fire. And somehow they found a trade partner in loser Lamoriello who absolutely we got fleeced without getting a contract signing in there. Fleeced.
Here's the thing. What does this mean?
Fleeced.
Right? I think that this sets the precedent to what we're going to see not only from now, and we've talked about this before. This general manager, and this is what I hope for, as we have won 2 games out of our last 13 chances. Oh, shit. Lou from the landline is giving Grumpy Old Man a call. Uh-oh. He did not like the way Grumpy was speaking at all about getting fleeced. And as soon as Grumpy gets done with that, Lou from the landline gives Grumpy a call. Maybe the warden might be picking that up, Grumpy, to go ahead and hopefully he'll calm Lou. Hopefully she'll calm Lou from the landline. My
executive assistant has picked the call up.
Okay. Good to see. Good to see. Now, here's the thing, right? We've always needed a top forward, right? Top line forward. And Bo Horvat's one of those guys. So
I love this. Hey, look at this tweet. I'm sorry, you put it. Who said that?
It's funny, right? I said this, I don't know, March 21st of 2022. And it rings true, right? It's the truth of it.
That's why anyone who's tuning into this podcast, anyone who's listening to this needs to subscribe, click it, watch it, listen to it, because guess what? You get information like this months and months before it happens. We are the curve on this podcast.
Do you remember when people were saying last week, 2 weeks ago, wow, guys, we doubted you for a while, but we knew you're right there. Now you've proven to be correct. Here's another thing. The things we may talk about tonight may not be fun to talk about. They may not be enjoyable to talk about, but they're correct. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This kind of spells what we're going to see going forward. We talked about what the team needed to do to put ourselves on the correct path for a retool, right? The retool after this trade is no longer possible.
No.
You've traded away Aatu Raty, who was, again, looks to have the talent and the skill level to be an NHLer, maybe a number 2 center, right? That's what he looked like out there on the ice. He was paired with Ross Johnston and Matt Martin and was still making things happen on the 4th line, playing 7 minutes a night, right? You could tell the guy had it and shows flashes. You could tell Aatu Raty has it. First full year playing on North American size rink, and he's showing it out there on the ice, right? He could go ahead and do it, and you trade away a first-round pick. Again, it is a top 12 protected selection. So let's assume, right, the Islanders were to fall off.
It doesn't matter. It
which
doesn't.
They won't.
Okay, let's say we fall in the top 12. We're going to be bottom 10 next year, and they're going to get that pick. It doesn't matter. This is a team that could not afford to trade away draft picks. And this failure as a general manager, he's just an absolute failure. He set the franchise. He burned the franchise to the ground today. Burned it, killed it, destroyed it.
Yep.
Get ready. Ledecky, Malkin, you might as well just get used to the empty seats because this team is going downhill. We were 31st in the rankings.
For prospect rankings.
For prospects, right? Actually, no, I think we moved up 27th. We just traded our best prospect. So we're back to 32nd. We don't have any young prospects. None. And in the deepest draft ever, you trade away the number one pick.
Or your first round pick.
Right. Our number one pick, our number one prospect, and a 25-year-old who needs a change of scenery. And what do we get back? A guy who's going to leave in 3 months.
Who could leave? We don't know.
He's going to leave. He will leave. He will leave. He will leave. Because when you're a loser, you do loser things. I say it all the times. New York Jets fan. The Jets do Jets things. The Islanders do Islander things. This is worse than Garth Snow trading for Thomas Vanek. Absolutely worse.
Oh, my God.
Way worse. Way worse.
Jesus Christ. I don't think he's leaving, but what I think this does is this. We talked about the retool.
I'm going to laugh my ass off if he leaves. I'm going to laugh my ass off at the organization. If he leaves and doesn't, who makes a trade for a pending free agent without discussing a contract extension? It didn't happen with J.G. Pajot. He gave up all those picks for Pajot. That was immediately signed, 5-year extension.
Yep.
Why would, if you're Bo Horvat, why would you not test the market this offseason? Why would you not? Here's the only time you're going to be a free agent and be able to cash in. Why would you not test the market? Or say to the Islanders, I want $12 million a year. And then he's going to say, Fredo, I'll just hand the team over to you now. This is, and that's it. I love the player. I love the player. That's why I only gave it a failing grade of a D right now.
I give this an F because solely for a few reasons. It spells out what is going to happen additionally this trade deadline. We gave up a first-round pick, our top prospect, who looks like he could be a bona fide number 2 center. The guy who, Aatu Raty, right before this draft class year, he was penciled to be a top 5 pick on everybody's boards. They said he looked a little lazy. They worried about things. His next year, right after he was drafted, right, he went ahead and he left Karpot, or he left Jokerit, or left Karpot, went to Jokerit. I can't remember how the fuck it went, but he switched it up, and everything looked to be, as right as rain. And he looked to be exactly what everybody thought of this top 5 pick, this top 5 player type of mentality that Aatu Raty was penciled in to be. Well, we traded him away, and Beauvillier needed a change of scenery. So, we sold at his lowest point. But hey, is what it is. Now, this is what it means going forward. We're not trading away Scott Mayfield. We are not trading away Varlamov. We're not trading away Parise. We're not trading away Brock Nelson. We're not trading away Jean-Gabriel Pajot. We are not trading away anybody on this roster except maybe we're going to try to get rid of Bailey. So maybe we're going to give up more draft capital to get rid of Bailey because we had the Vancouver Canucks withhold 20.
Resign Bailey. Resign him. Resign him. Give him another 5-year extension. Just do it. Go into full in loserdom. Go ahead. Give Anders Lee another extension. Why don't we extend Brock Nelson now? Give him a 6-year extension so he'll be here when he's 40. Let's do that. This guy should not be allowed to drive. First of all, 80 years old. Are you even allowed to drive a car anymore? No. And here's the thing. He's in charge of an NHL franchise.
Here's the scary part about it too, Grump. We had the Canucks retain a 25% of the cap hit. Which means the reason that matters, Lou Lamoriello is not done, ladies and gentlemen. we might not even have a selection in the first 3 rounds this year.
We have nothing left.
Lamoriello is going to be adding more pieces come this year's trade deadline. We are going to give more draft capital away when our team's future is already barren. This guy is supposed to be a steward for the organization in the short term as well as the long term for the franchise. And what he's done today is he said, well, screw it. We don't care at all about the team's success 2-3 years from now. Well, don't worry about watching hockey from years 2025 until 2030 because we're going to have a 5 or 6 year rebuild, and it's going to be painful. It's going to be even worse than imaginable. That is what this trade has done. I hope you're happy, guys. I hope you're happy maybe at a run to make the postseason. Woohoo! We might be able to make the playoffs.
Maybe we get John Sim back to play. Those are the type of guys we're going to have on this team.
Hey, guys, listeners of the show, do we think adding Bo Horvat just made us a cup contender? Are we winning a Stanley Cup now with Bo Horvat in the lineup? No. The answer to that question is no. We're not competing with teams like Boston, with teams like the Carolina Hurricanes. We are not competing with the best teams in the league just because we've added Bo Horvat. Wake up. Wake up.
The Vancouver Canucks today did what we should have done.
Could you imagine if we got rid of Brock Nelson, right?
That's a win.
Bo Horvat on an expiring contract got moved to the Islanders without even having a discussion about what a possible extension would look like. Could you imagine what we would have gotten for Brock Nelson, right? Bo Horvat's having a career year on a contract season. Ha-ha! Isn't that crazy? 27-year-old putting up the most points he's ever had in his career on a year of a contract year. Isn't that quite odd? It's like it's a coincidence is all. It's a little coinky-dink grump. But could you have imagined what Brock Nelson would have got if you were to move a guy like that? Who's had consistent success and again is having a career year and still has 2 years left on his contract under team control. Could you imagine we gave up a first, our top prospect, and a guy who's kind of fallen out of favor with us, but is still young? Maybe he could go ahead and, find a decent spot as a third line guy for Vancouver, a very consistent third line guy. But could you imagine what we would have gotten for Brock Nelson?
I would have felt better if they would have thrown Besser in the deal. I would have felt better. A change of scenery could have done wonders for him too. I would have felt better than a younger player. Why did we do that? You know how these trade conversations went? Lou Lamoriello will call up his old buddy Jim Rutherford and goes, they're giving me a hard time up here. I got to make a trade. Who are you going to? Is it Bo Horvat? What do you want for him? He's like, well, and he probably looked down at a piece of paper. He's like, probably all Lou would give me is probably, these expiring deal. He says, well, do you want to do a contract extension with him? Nah, we ain't got to worry about that. We'll keep the price down. Okay, we'll give you a discount. Your first round pick, Aatu Raty, Anthony Beauvillier. Oh, I don't know. How about if we don't? Can you push that?
Sound like Bugs. You sound like an odd Bugs Bunny character, Grumpy.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like, Bugs Bunny.
I bet there was no finagling over that deal. Rutherford just said, "This is what it is, and you take it or leave it," and he just took it because he can't do the job anymore. He can't do the job anymore. It's finished. He's finished.
Bo Horvat, think about this. And he's played on a very talented Vancouver team. Here's the thing. I like Bo Horvat more than I like Jean-Gabriel Pageau when he traded for him.
Absolutely.
So that being said, right, I think we gave up more to get Bo Horvat, of course, than we gave up to get Jean-Gabriel Pageau. That's quite obvious. We're a team that right now, we're not in the postseason, ladies and gentlemen.
We're not going to make
team that's on the outside.
Playoffs. We're not making the playoffs. You win 2 games. You've only won 3 games or 4 games in the whole month of January. You're not making the playoffs. Sorry, not happening.
We're a team that you're right. We're 2 or 3 points out of a postseason spot. The Pittsburgh Penguins are in the 8th spot. They have 3 games in hand over us and have a 2-point lead over us.
What about Buffalo?
All of a sudden, I was about to say Buffalo's ahead of us, or Buffalo's tied with us with games in hands, whatever the hell it is. There's a lot of teams that are competing for that last spot. And do we think that they're just going to sit on their hands? Do we really think that Bo Horvat, a trade for essentially what we've done here is we've cleared out a spot. We've cleared out Anthony Beauvillier for Bo Horvat. Do we think that alone is going to go ahead and completely flip the switch? Lou Lamoriello said, oh, well, that obviously, our power play has been struggling. So obviously that was taken with major consideration. Bo Horvat's going to fix the entire power play, guys. In case you didn't know, we're going to be scoring on 30% of the power plays from the remainder of the season. Yeah, okay.
The only way this trade works is if you jettison everybody else before the deadline. The only way this trade works.
We had Vancouver retain 25% of the cap hit. The reason we had them do that is because our maniac of a general manager wants to add more pieces. Well, fuck it. Screw the future of the team. Hey, fans who want to go ahead and root for the team. Hey, fans who want to root for the Islanders in 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. Forget it.
Root for the Rangers.
Going to the game.
Root for the Rangers instead. Root for the Rangers.
Don't bother fucking buying merchandise. Don't bother fucking turning the television screen on. Forget it. The only way to teach this fucking maniac and these loser owners what it is just not to go to the games, not to support them, not to buy. That's the only way to go ahead and get it through the head. Simple. Hey, we let the hockey operations guys handle hockey operations. Guess what? I guess we're going to be saying that too come 2-3 years from now. Hey, Ledecky Malkin. Hey, maybe we could go ahead and throw more money into the lottery. Maybe that's why you should go ahead. Hey, we're putting $500,000 in lottery tickets this year around. Come and join the season ticket holders. We're going to go ahead and buy more group lottery tickets, and you could share in the lottery ticket winnings.
No one goes to the games as it is now. No one goes to the games. Anytime I watch a game of TV, there's nobody in the stands. Nobody. And that said, I love the player. Guess what? You could have signed him as a free agent at the end of the year.
That's a very good point,
too. You didn't have to give anything up, and you could have re-signed him because we said that's a goal. Sign him as an unrestricted free agent. Throw whatever ridiculous amount of money you want him as a free agent.
You could have traded away Mayfield. You could have traded away Varlamov. You could have traded away Parise. And hell, you could have gotten rid of either Parise or Jean-Gabriel Pageau. In this offseason, you could have offered a contract to Bo Horvat. And you wouldn't have had to give up a first in Aatu Raty. You could have then got Bo Horvat for the future, too, if you were so hell-bent on doing it, and it wouldn't have cost you a dime. But because our general manager is so freaking thick-headed, and he thinks, oh, all of these guys playing Monday morning quarterback, they just don't understand. You know what's going to happen? The Islanders, if they make the postseason, going to get one round and get their ass bounced. You know what I'll be saying? Hey, guys, maybe we can give up next 15 first-round picks that we have to continue to double down on a team that's past their fucking peak, because that's what we've done today, and we've been doing every freaking damn year at the trade deadline.
This ass clown has made one first-round pick. You want to know why Casper Holmstrom wasn't involved in the deal? Because Vancouver said, absolutely not. We don't want some piece of shit bottom liner coming to this team. We don't need a Josh Bailey on our team. We don't need that.
The organization
wasn't included.
Organization's a joke. The organization's a joke.
We've got today.
This ownership group. Remember, we talked about what I have big concerns about the ownership group.
I don't think they.
I really do. Now Grumpy's going in and out. But Grumpy, are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, gotcha. I was saying I've got real concerns about this ownership group.
I don't think they care. I don't think they. Oh, here's the thing. They obviously don't know what they're doing. And to trust this guy, let me ask you a question. Someone who's 80 years old, are you trusting them to make decisions on anything?
I'm not trusting him to do anything.
I wouldn't trust him to tell me what he wanted for dinner. If you ask him in the afternoon what you want for dinner, he's going to forget by the afternoon. No. You don't let a guy like that run your hockey team.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm worried. I'm defeated as a fan.
So everyone's coming back next year, just to let you know, everyone is coming back.
That's what I was about to say. We're not, them adding, because I'm just telling you what I heard, because I joined a little talk earlier today, and I wanted to hear some of the other opinions, because I'm like, maybe, right, there may be fallacies in the way I'm thinking. I'm willing to admit that maybe that was the case, but I don't think there is. But they said, us adding Horvat proves that, hey, the current cast and crew wasn't good enough, so he's willing to make other changes too.
Like what?
What type of ridiculous and what type of in-depth changes has Lou Lamoriello made since being general manager here? All he does is every trade deadline, he adds a piece or two, and he says, okay, you're part of the team now forever. That's all he does. That's your move right there. Let's look down the trade history of Lou Lamoriello when he acquires pieces and see if they've been a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, third line center, and he does a lot, right? Albeit he does a lot more than what most third line centers, but he's a third line guy.
First and second round pick for a third line center.
First and a second round pick for a third line center. Do we think that we got the best value for that? Perhaps
that's a C, maybe C minus deal.
It's about, I think we overpaid for him because that's a guy again that you could have signed him as an unrestricted free agent. But hey, it helped us get through the postseason, whatever. I give it maybe a C plus that deal. I thought we overpaid for it, but maybe a C plus. Kyle Palmieri for a first round pick.
F minus. That's an F minus.
I did absolutely nothing to benefit the team.
Nothing.
Andy Green for a second. I thought that was valuable, right? I thought that he's a guy who brought
but that's because 37 or 38-year-old defensemen, guess what? They're sitting at home. No, you don't give up a second round pick for somebody like that.
I thought that was around a C or a C plus.
You're not winning any deals. C's are nothing.
C's are like a net neutral. You're not winning, but you're not losing.
D
but this trade, I think, has the ability to be a real stinker. People say, well, you're going to have Bo Horvat. He's 27 years old. He's in the prime.
He's not signed past 3-4 months now. Actually, when's the season in? The end of May? So what is that, 4 months? 4 months. He's going to be yours for 4 months. Then he's moving on. He's going to hit free agency. He will hit. Why would he not hit free agency? He's the number one free agent on the market. Number one. Lou didn't even offer $9 million for Johnny Gaudreau. Didn't even offer that. What do you think he's going to offer him? What do you think he's going to offer Bo Horvat?
Good question. Because if Bo Horvat wants to get paid, he's going to go to free agency.
Why would he not? If you were a guy where you're coming off a career year and you get to cash in, why would you not test the market?
Good question. It's a good question.
I mean, I know I would. What, is he going to fall in love with the cul-de-sac crew? I mean, maybe he will, but you know what? He doesn't strike me as the type of guy who's just a lazy ass, just happy to just, hey, we got a nice life here. We don't care about winning anything. We don't care about that. Anders Lee certainly doesn't. Croc Nelson, Josh Bailey, the whole bunch of the freaking loser squad. The whole bunch of the cul-de-sac crew.
Our mentality is not that to ever win a cup. It's not. And with this group, never will.
They're just happy. All the players are happy. They're fat, dumb, and happy. They love playing on the island. They love all living in the same areas. They love hanging out with one another. It's like country club. It's the cul-de-sac crew for a reason.
For people who are cheering this trade on, I just want you to remember, you cheer. I almost need to take receipts for everybody who's excited about this trade 2 years from now to see where your excitement level is.
4 months from now. When he says, I'm going to free agency. And what are you saying? We traded no one at the deadline. We lost Scott Mayfield. We lost Varlamov will sign back now. He wants it. He come out in New York. I want to be here. Why wouldn't he want to be here? No accountability. You don't have to win. You don't have to perform. You're just here.
Okay. So Dylan there. What's up, Dylan, from the Hockey Podcast Network? He says Horvat spent about 7 to 8 years on a losing Canucks team. He wants to be on a contender.
You know what that
means? He also
means?
said he wouldn't pay him more than $7 and $7.5 million a year, but he's going to get paid a shit ton more than that for Bo Horvat.
You want to know what that means? I'm going to tell you what that means.
He's not going to be here.
He's going to be he's going to test the market. That's what's going to happen. He's going to test the market. You know who's going to get him? How about Tampa Bay? How about Tampa Bay?
How are they going to have the cap?
They make it work. They trade guys who on the no move clauses. They get them off the roster. They have no problem like that. That's why those teams are good. Carolina's in love with him. Tell me he doesn't work out with Carolina. My God.
My God.
I'd love to see him go to Carolina. I'd go watch their games. Start rooting for Carolina Hurricanes now.
We got Canucks.
At least they try to win.
Canuck fans saying Horvat won't come back. I'm telling you, I tell you,
you had to have a contract extension in place, because if I'm his agent, I'm like, dude, I'm not talking to you till the end of the year.
Yep,
that's sorry. We talk about contracts at the end of the year.
I've got my agent over here is averaging over a point a game. We're having a career year, and we did it on a bad team, and we're going to want to go ahead and cash in. Why the fuck would they agree to something early now? Because here's the thing. All he could do is continue to raise his trade value the longer he continues to perform.
For all those people who bury Garth Snow for trading for Thomas Vanek, what's the difference with this trade?
For all of these people who shit all over Garth Snow for not going ahead and trading away John Tavares when he didn't have a contract signed, what's the difference? We now have a situation for everybody who said, oh, well, if Sorokin gets next year and he doesn't have a contract extension, we've got to trade him away. What's the difference?
Why would Sorokin resign now?
Well, here's the thing. We've traded now for Bo Horvat without having any security regarding an extension or even having talked to his agent regarding an extension.
Do
we not think that could maybe cause a problem? Do we maybe think that might be a tiny bit problematic? Maybe just a tiny bit. We haven't even talked to the agent about maybe a possible extension. Maybe his agent already said, kick rocks. We're not talking about it till the end of the year. And that's the reason why not. Who the hell knows? All I can tell you is this much. We haven't talked to him about an extension. We gave up a first, our top prospect, and a winger who, needed a change of scenery for a guy who may just be a rental.
You paid top dollar for a rental for a team that's not a playoff team.
For a team, right, that is multiple teams outside of the playoff picture, and teams have more games at hand over us than this.
Buffalo's 1 point ahead of us, and it's 3 games in hand. And when we played Buffalo, guess what?
We're 2 points ahead of us, 3 games in hand.
Yeah, we don't match up with those teams. I mean,
I love the fans. Go ahead.
Let's say somehow we sneak into the playoffs at number 8. We're going to get swept by Carolina. Just swept by Carolina. Swept. Carolina's going to make moves at the deadline.
Hold on. If we go in at number 8, we're not playing Carolina. We're getting our asses whooped by Boston.
Well, I think, okay, I thought if I thought it's all 4 in the same conference. Okay, well, here's the thing. We ain't beating Boston.
We'll get our asses whooped by Boston. That's exactly what happens. And I love the fans who are over here like, oh, well, you forget, we've played like this type of shit. This mentality right here is just foolish mentality of, well, to think that we're not even a postseason team, guys. We've been missing players, right? Oh, we've missed Pelech and Palmieri out of our lineup, and now we've got Pelech, Palmieri, and Horvat back. The playoffs are definitely possible.
Who's that moron who said that?
I'm not going to out the person, but here's the thing: every team has fucking injuries. We're going to have more injuries. Guess what? Newsflash: we're going to have more injuries before the end of the year. Our team's not going to stay 100% healthy between now and the postseason if we decide to make it, or if we have the ability to make it. Every team witnesses and experiences injuries. Pelech could go ahead and get another concussion tomorrow. Who the fuck knows? We have no idea. For you to say we're going to stay completely healthy over this time frame is, come on.
Okay.
We are a team who's won 2 out of our last 13 games.
Is this a team?
Feel confident?
Is this a team good enough to win a Stanley Cup? That's all you need to say. Is it a team good enough to win a Stanley Cup? And with this trade, if you don't do the things that we suggested by getting younger, if you just continue to get older and keep all the same guys year after year, is it ever a team that's going to be good enough to win a Stanley Cup? The answer is no. It's a resounding no.
Well,
and here's the thing. That again, I love Bo Horvat. We talked about it earlier this year. Love Bo Horvat. He's the type of guy I want on this team. Without a doubt, he's the type of guy I want on this team. Now his failure to get Johnny Gaudreau is even bigger. Now, if you had a line of Gaudreau, Barzal, and Horvat, watch out. Now you're cooking. But he couldn't even get that done. Because you know what? No one wants to come here as a free agent. No one wants to come and play for the Islanders as a free agent. No one signs with the Islanders as a free agent. No one.
We got Andrew Ladd. That was a really great signing, Grump.
Like I said, no one. He couldn't get Johnny Gaudreau to come here. He took he went to Columbus rather than play for the Islanders. Think about that. Went to Columbus rather than play with the Islanders.
By the way, the reason that we floundered in January wasn't because our team played against good competition and we played like shit and our offense didn't perform. It was because we didn't have Pelech, Palmieri, and Horvat in the lineup.
That's the reason.
With those 3 guys, we're not going to flounder like we did in January. Come on, guys. I'm just going to be so facetious and make it look so simplistic like that. Come on. Here's the thing. We're a team that has scored 2 goals or less in 14 out of our last 16 games. How many goals does Adam Pelech put in the net? Can you remind me who made this comment? How many goals does Kyle Palmieri put in the net? Okay, thank you very much.
I can let you
We're a
know.
team that is not scoring enough goals. And by adding one piece like this and by subtracting Anthony Beauvillier, it does not completely change the narrative. We're a team that still is not talented enough on the forward group. We're a team that is older. We're a team that the makeup of this team is built for very short-term success, if at all any success remaining. And we've doubled down on a team where the window is closed. What is the point to continue to buy assets to when the window is closed? It makes no sense. It does not make sound sense.
So Lamoriello did not get a discount to
no.
not get a trade, to not get a contract extension done. Didn't even get a discount because that's
Well,
not.
his discount was you're going to go ahead and withhold 25% of the cap hit. That was the discount. So I can go spend more of my team's assets.
No, I think he wants to give Fredo a raise before he gets fired. How's Bridgeport doing? How are they doing? They're probably
doing
going back in the tank under his leadership.
For people who are trying to say, well, this is a deal. If we sign it back, this is a long-term deal. Hold on. Let's play this out. Let's say, well, Horvat signs back. Great. Congratulations. It's still a loss of a trade. Because here's the thing. If we sign Bo Horvat, let's say we sign him to a 7 or an 8-year deal, right? And we've got him all the way until he's 35 years old. That's going to be a great contract too, isn't it? But let's say we go ahead and sign him till he's 35. Guess what? This team is going to need a full rebuild because you've traded away your future.
In 2 years, you need a full rebuild now.
Correct.
Full rebuild.
Correct. You would have had your number 2 center, Aatu Raty, already on the roster, ready to go. You would have had a first-round pick this year to additionally reload the forward group. But now we've said future second center, boop, we don't need you. In a first round pick that maybe could pan out to be somebody in the forward group going forward, we don't need that either. All you've done is left the freaking cupboards completely barren. And when you rebuild, this contract you've signed, this long-term deal for Bo Horvat, it's going to be wasted. That contract you gave Matt Barzal is going to be wasted. Why the fuck would Sorokin sign back? Why the hell is Noah Dobbs is the guy who's going to have to get moved? All of these players will have to get moved because we are going to be in a full-on rebuild, and you're going to have a guy like Bo Horvat. Hey, congratulations. We're at the bottom of the NHL, but I'm so glad we've got Bo Horvat.
But hey, it's okay. You're used to that. You played for Vancouver. Get ready to be a loser.
I'm telling you.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I mean, not the trade itself, but just for where we are as an organization. If you had gotten Bo Horvat 3 years ago,
it's completely different.
Okay.
Completely different.
Not now. Not where the organization is, not where the team is, not where the minor league system is, which is nowhere. I mean, nowhere. The forward group is abysmal. Now you have 2 forwards on the whole team. Two are worth anything. That's it, 2.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
They should still, you know what? You know how I'll feel better about this deal? If he moves all those guys at the deadline. Anyway.
He's not going to.
Well, I know he's not. But here's the thing. Do you think he tries to re-sign Scott Mayfield now?
They've got $16 million in cap space.
He's only 30 years old or 31 years old.
I'll tell you.
You know, Varlamov I want to come back.
I don't give a fuck if he wants to come back or not. We should have traded his ass away for assets of value. But here's what's going to happen. There's going to be some guys that we can't re-sign back. We're going to keep them on through the end of this year, trying to hope for this big old playoff push. And if we don't make it, or even if we do, we get bounced in the first round, we're going to lose them the free agency for absolutely nothing. And you know what we like to call that? Poor asset management. Bad asset management, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're going to have happening to us.
Read the ad. Read the ad.
Oh, we didn't even need to do that today, Grumpy, to be honest.
Read it. Do it. Roll it. Roll it.
Okay. Shit, you want to just stop it? Okay, I don't have that shit pulled up, Grump. When
okay,
what? Grumpy? Why are you directing to do anything we're going on right now? What the fuck? I gotta have all that shit prepped. And he's over here trying to take it from control. Give me a second here. Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app now, today, and opt in and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. So you could say, hey, I'm betting Kyrie to drop 50 in the Nets to win. You could do same game parlays. And with a sweat-free bet, download the app now and use the promo code THPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes or see the description and the detail, and to see the description and the show notes for additional details. And also, we have an ad there from Raycon. This time of the year, everybody's talking about making big changes, which is all good. But most of the time, it's pretty unrealistic. And I've found that sometimes the smallest changes to your routine can make the biggest impact. In the same way, you don't have to break the bank to make a big deal purchase, or even, sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest change and impact on your everyday life, like my Raycon headphones. Raycon is a premium audio brand. It's the perfect price point, so you can build, great habits without breaking the bank. So you could say, hey, you could go ahead and listen with your Raycon headphones anytime you're listening to your podcast or at the gym, getting in the zone. And whether you're not looking for a pair of everyday headphones that are low latency gaming headphones, or a speaker with battery that will last all night at your next party, Raycon's got you covered. And yup, Raycon start at half the price of other premium audio brands. So you don't even have to choose between products. You can get one of each. Or, hey, a pair and a spare, and still pay less than you would with some of the other guys. Even if you'll love your Raycons as much as I do, Raycon wants you to feel great about your purchase. They offer buy now, pay later options, and every purchase has easy and free return guarantee. So, the Raycons, obviously, they've got the noise isolation. They've got the tap function on the side of the headphones. They've got the crystal clear call quality and, much, much more, Grumpy. If you're ready to buy something small with a big impact, go to buyraycon.com/THPN today and get 15% off your Raycon order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/THPN and score 15% off. Again, buyraycon.com/THPN. Whew.
You want to buy Raycon.com/THPN.
That's it. I tell you, as a fan, you hope everything works out. The only way this trade works out is if you win a cup. Does this team?
Well, then it's not gonna work out then.
Does this team, the way currently constituted, even with adding Bo Horvat, does this team look like it's going to win a cup?
No.
The answer to that should be no, guys.
No.
How often does it? Bo Horvat has never put up over 61 points ever in his NHL career. People are freaking praising, oh, Bo Horvat, he's so great.
He will this year, though. Well,
it's a career year. It's in a contract season.
No, I'm just saying he's playing for us now, so he might not reach 61. He got 55. He might not reach 61.
My thing is, he's never put up over more than 61 points. He's never averaged. We gave up a first, our top prospect, and a winger that needed a change of scenery, a first round pick, and one of the deepest drafts in the freaking last 2 decades. It's not like this is just an average draft. This 2023 draft is the reason why teams are very hesitant about giving away draft capital. This is one of the deepest drafts we've seen in 2 fucking decades.
Wouldn't this be great at the deadline? The only team to trade a first round draft pick in this draft are the New York freaking Islanders. And they came in 12th, so they lose this year's pick.
Oh, God.
I just
if we came in 12th, we're still good. If we come in 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, etc., the pick's gone.
That's where
the pick is so the draft is so deep. A pick around 14, 15 is like a top 10 selection any other year. Do you understand that? So that's why I'm like, it doesn't matter even if it's a later selection in the first round. This year's draft is so fucking deep. It's like a top 10 pick every other year. We just gave that away.
frustrating. And I love the player. Love the player. I love the player. Love the player. But it's like, what are you doubling down on? It's like building a house, building a mansion on mud. It doesn't work. Or on sand.
Or on clay. Just you after
No, clay's like on sand. It's like building a house, just building a house on sand, where anytime the weather comes, it just washes it away. No. It's like build like a house of cards. Just one little collapses. I mean, we had a way out. We had one last chance at a way out, and the old man blew it.
Yep, we did. Could you imagine if we traded right? We are not in the playoffs as of right now. Teams have more points than us in three games in hand on us. Just to go ahead and put that in perspective, guys, right? There's 30 games left in the regular season. 3 games in hand is 10% of the remaining games. Some teams have 10% more remaining games than we've got, right? And they've got more points than us on the board. How are we feeling? Seriously, how are we feeling, guys? I'm feeling worried, nervous, because this is not the last move we're making. I wonder what else we're going to add.
We don't have anything else to trade.
We are going to add, yes, we do.
Maybe Noah Dobson.
Our second
let's move Noah Dobson. Let's move Noah Dobson for Patrick Kane.
I could see us moving Oliver Wahlstrom. A second and a third for a defenseman. I fucking guarantee you Oliver Wahlstrom's going to get moved, as well as draft picks for defensemen. We are trading away more of our youth for more of a freaking one last hurrah. I hope you understand what this is going to do to the future of this team.
If you're a team like Pittsburgh,
it makes sense.
Do that for year after year because you got Crosby and Mal. I understand that. We don't have that here. If you're a team like Washington with Ovechkin and Backstrom and Carlson and those, you can do that because they're they're legendary players. They're top
Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame players.
But we don't have anyone like that on this team.
Not even close.
Not even Matt Barzal.
No.
He's not in the category of Crosby or Ovechkin.
Not even
or
close.
Malkin. It's just, this is a guy you could have had in free agency. Maybe Lou didn't feel, well, you know what? I couldn't get him in free agency because I don't have a sales pitch. I don't know how to sign guys. You can't
get him in free agency. How the fuck are you expecting him to sign?
The only guys,
that's my entire point. If you're so confident he's going to sign here, you just should have waited until free agency and gotten him then.
Look at the guys he brings in a free agency. And look what he's got to offer him. Leo frickin' Komarov, a guy who was on the way out at Toronto, 4 years, $3 million per, no trade clause. Filppula. These are the guys he brings in. Parise, cast finished Parise. They got him, right? Chara. Stop. Travis Zajac, he didn't want to leave. Why would he want to leave? There's no accountability on the island. None. We don't win a cup. No, that's okay. Hey, you know what? We're all pals here. We play for one another. You know what they don't do? They don't play for Stanley Cups. That's why you're in the business. It's not the beer league. It just isn't. Look what Tampa does. Ryan McDonough, you got a no move clause? We're going to waive your ass. This is where you go, oh, we could trade you here. Oh, okay, I'll take the trade. Yeah, no shit. You think the old man's got the balls to pull something like that? I don't care about he wants relationships. He'll be dead soon. It doesn't matter. I don't care what relationships he's building now. I mean, he's 80. Stop. I wouldn't let him order my meal at McDonald's. I don't want to run a hockey team.
What I worry about.
He's 80.
How can you expect an 80-year-old who's supposed to be a steward. Again, as I say this, general managers are not only supposed to be a steward of the short term, but also the long-term health of your organization.
I
How can you expect an 80-year-old guy, an 80-year-old man on an expiring contract to keep in mind the future of this organization? Because this trade right here today has completely ignored the future success of this team. That's what it's seriously, that's what it's done. It's
I love
completely ignored the future success and said, I'm going to take one last gamble on my last year of being a general manager in the NHL. And all these fans are saying, ha ha, keep going. Go, Lou. In Lou, we trust. Go ahead and
again.
throw more picks at it.
I'm going to tell you again. What has this group won?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Have they won a division title?
No.
Have they won a conference title?
No.
Have they won a Stanley Cup?
No.
What have they won?
We've never won anything, and the only reason we've had success were in 2 truncated COVID seasons.
That's it.
You look at the last year, right, when we played 50 games, the last time we made the Eastern Conference Finals run, we look back at that time period, look at the damn teams we played. Tristan Jarry had one of the worst series, one of the worst goals against, or one of the worst save percentages compared to expected save percentages out there since they started recording that. And you had there Tuukka Rask was playing on a torn hip labrum that ended his
Career-ending
NHL
injury.
career. A career-ending injury he was playing on. And we beat those 2 teams. Hideous Tristan Jarry, and I'm on a career-ending hip injury that I tried to fight through for Boston in order to go ahead and win. And that's the reason we got to an Eastern Conference Finals. We are a team that is old on our forward group. We're a defensive unit that is freaking always out of position and look like we're chickens with our head cut off. We now have a coach, right? We've always mentioned it. This is a first-time NHL head coach. What do you say? It's all brand new, uncharted territory for him, right? If he, let's say we make the postseason, what do we think it's going to be like for first-time head coach in the postseason? Probably not great, right? We talk about Barry Trotz's deficiencies he had. At least he had the experience, right? He may not have been great always after the first round of the postseason, but man, at least he had some experience. Lee Lambert's never coached an NHL head team in a playoff series. Do we think maybe that might rear its head? Remember all these things earlier this year? We were talking about sustainability that came to be true. Now we're going to start talking about some other things that are going to come to be true here if we make the postseason. Do we think, again, first-time head coach won't show some flaws in his game as we start to get towards the tail end of the season with adjustments? Do we think first-time head coach might struggle a little bit in the postseason? Perhaps, just maybe.
We've also made our team slower today.
Yeah, Bo Horvat's not as good of a skater as Anthony Beauvillier.
Right.
Sure.
Just not. I mean, here's the thing. I don't mind. And here's the thing. If we had to give up Raty, if it was Raty and Beauvillier, I could have swallowed it. It's the first round pick and the direction of the team. Because now that you know the direction of the team is, we're not selling. That's the thing that makes me most angry and why I give it such a low grade. It means that you don't care about the direction of the franchise. And I just love it. Well, he's not going to want to stick around for a rebuild. Then leave. Because this team needs a rebuild. It's full-on rebuild now. Full-on rebuild.
Oh, ownership doesn't want to go ahead and have empty seats in the stands out there.
Well, really? That's what they have now. They lead the league in empty seats.
I'm so sick and tired of that stupid fucking excuse. Oh, ownership doesn't want to have empty seats. If ownership really cared about the long-term, right? If you're an owner and you care really about the team, you care long-term what the fannies and the seats look like. You're not so concerned of, oh, well, if in year 2 or 3, we had less seats in here, but year 4, 5, 6, and 7, we had more seats than we had expected. You're not concerned about it because all it washes and it turns out. But if you're a property brother and you're trying to sell the team, well, then, yeah, you care about what short-term it looks like. For certain you do. Here's the thing. If they're real owners and care about the success of this franchise, would care as well about what the future looks like 4 years after the arena is created, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. But with the trades today, it shows they don't care about that, which makes me wonder if they're actually owners for the long term. I don't know. It's a question to be asked, I think.
How much money do you think they're going to make when your team is the worst in the conference? I mean, then guess what? You're not selling that team for a whole lot of money. Yo, you got a new stadium? That's great. We're not taking on that debt.
I'm just
Who
kind
you
of
got on your team? Who you got on your
flummoxed.
team? Oh, you got Anders Lee on your team still. Matt Barzell. Okay, everybody and Bo Horvat, he left at that first year in free agency. I can't believe they didn't get a deal done with him. He absolutely, like I said, if I'm his agent, I'm like, we're testing the market.
We didn't even call up Horvat's agent. Why not? Why not Lou Lamoriello? That just sounds like gross incompetence by our general manager. Didn't even call up. Didn't even have the conversation. It's not like we're making this up or pulling some rumor out our ass. Again, by reliable sources. I'm kind of shocked by it all, Grumpy. I'm flummoxed. I'm disappointed is really what it has to be. Grumpy, look at this. Hold on a second. Nothing will make you happier. Look who it is, Grump. What was that?
I hate this kid.
Drew L said, Grumpy, TJ and Grumpy after seeing the news.
Like no one's ever seen. We're in the air. We're on the ground. We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl.
Look at that, Grumpy.
Look at the
tearing a shirt apart. He can't even rip a shirt apart. Jesus Christ.
My gosh. He looks like he's right out of a wheelchair with those legs. That's why he can stand on his own.
Oh, great. I'm worried about the team. I'm worried about the future.
It's like, dude, what?
I'm going to be.
Don't you? Yeah, but you do a review every year, right? Anytime anyone who's got a job, what do you want to be in 3 years? What do you think the ownerships go to Lou? Say, Lou, where do you want to be 3 years or 5 years? His only answer should be alive. That should be the only answer he should give at this stage of his life. It should be running the hockey team.
Oh,
where do you see this franchise? When are you going to start moving off some of the shit that you put on this team and have kept on this team?
Jesus Christ.
This is the biggest move he's made since he's been there, though, is this move. This is without a doubt the biggest move.
It's a rental. It looks like a rental. It looks like a rental.
You know what? I'd love for him. Hey, can we talk extension? No, dude. We're free agent at the end. We're unrestricted at the end of the year. We're not talking to you. Why would we talk to you? You want to give me $12 million a year? I want to get paid like McDavid. How about that? That's the starting point.
I tell you, I do love when we get comments from other fan bases because they see this shit and they're like, after Lou leaves the Islanders in shambles, maybe you guys can rebuild like the Devils.
He's doing the same thing to us that he did with the Devils.
That's exactly.
And you know what did they do in Toronto? They took all his power away from him. They took that. Yeah, we'll keep you on the roster, sure.
We're transitioning away from you, you fucking maniac.
Dubas is in charge. You just sit up there and do whatever it is that old guys do. Just sit in your box and stare out. You're not running the team anymore. That's why they brought in Shanahan, and then they went to Dubas because he's like, you're not tearing this team down. It's the same thing he did in the Devils. He overstayed his welcome. He's overstayed his welcome here with the Islanders. He should have left with Trotz last offseason.
What we're seeing now is that Lou Lamoriello's impact on this team will be more negative than positive.
Yes. And I love the player.
Oh, we made two Eastern Conference Finals, so that outweighs any of the negatives that's going to transpire. It does not, ladies and gentlemen. Not when he puts us back. He's going to put us in a rebuild for 5+ years.
Unless, and he's not going to do it because this move tells me he's not going to do it, unless you sell off all those guys we suggested at the deadline to retool. Then I'm like, you know what? Good move. Even though I didn't want to give up the first, good move. Because you're restocking by moving a Mayfield, a Varlamov, a Parise, a Nelson. Now you're restocking. That's fine. I could live with that. But it's just not going to be like that.
We're not doing that. We're going to add more pieces. I cannot believe we had them retain 25% of the cap hit because all that cap that we've been earning, all that cap that we've been having build up on our team this year. We're going to go ahead and add, baby. Woohoo! Let's keep adding. Yeah, let's give up a second and a third. And the 4. See you later. See you later, Samuel Bolduc. Let's keep adding. Add. Buy. Fuck the team's future.
I mean,
I'm flabbergasted.
What's Horvat's cap number? I don't even know. $5.5 million. Okay, what was the difference between Beauvillier
It was the exact same.
and Rot? It's the exact same.
So they went ahead and held 25% of the cap hit to make it essentially the same cap hit that Beauvillier and Horvat was like an equal exchange.
What, Ratu counts? Ratu counts against his salary cap. He's played 10 games. He's on his entry-level deal.
Well, here's the thing. If Ratu, he's just a roster spot. He's like on a minimum contract. So they'll have somebody else with a minimum contract being called up to fill the spot. Or Hudson Fasching, when he's back, he's on that same minimum contract that Aatu Raty would be on. So it's indistinguishable. All I'm saying is here, when we had them hold 25% of the cap hit, it made it essentially the same exact cap hit that we were swapping with Beauvillier. So yikes, guys. As a fan, I'm disappointed.
What do the people think? Are they happy?
Man, I don't even know. Tony Cheese did say the upcoming game on February the 6th, 2023, the Islanders versus the Philadelphia Flyers is an we absolutely need to score more goals in Philadelphia. He says, Tony Cheese says it's a must win, Grumpy.
I'm rooting for the Flyers.
Oh,
I hate the Flyers, but I'm rooting for the Flyers now against us. I hope we lose every game the rest of the year. Every game. Every game. I hope we lose every single game.
We need to have Lou Lamoriello gone.
And Horvat leaves. And everybody else says, Marco says, I'm rescinding my contract. I'm not playing here. Trade me. I'm not reporting.
Oh,
not happening. I'm not. Sorokin says, I'm leaving. Why do I want to be here? Maybe they could sign Bailey to an extension. Give Simon Holmes from a 6-year extension now. Might as well. Matt Martin, re-up him. Casey, we gave you 6. Let's add another 3 onto that.
Can we restructure your deal? Cal Clutterbuck.
He's taken the team in the wrong direction. You can't build on sand. Can't build a bridge on sand. Just can't do it.
We're a team that it's like we have a festering wound. We have a festering wound which needs to be cut out, and we needed to go ahead and put some antibacterial cream on it, cut the wound out, everything. And all we do is we just rip off a Band-Aid and put a new one on, and the wound just continues to fester.
They need to debride that wound, and that wound is Lou Lamoriello.
We need to what?
Debride that wound.
What is debride?
It's debride. That's how you get rid of it. You got to dig all of the shit out. You got to clean it up. You got to, and that wound is Lou Lamoriello.
And it's painful. When you do that, right? It's painful. But now
we're going
to have to amputate our now we're going to have to amputate our leg. Instead of digging out the wound, which would have been painful for a bit, we're going to have to cut our freaking leg off.
Terrible.
Let's start looking at some of these comments. Apex Legend says Lou must go. This is 100% on ownership. I don't care if Bo signs a 7-year deal. The Islanders are a joke of organization. They aren't making the playoffs. And even if they do, we're not winning the fucking cup. That's the thing. Even if we make the postseason, it's not about making the postseason. It's about winning a Stanley Cup. Joseph C. Grumpy.
If the Islanders re-sign Horvat, I think it's a pretty good trade for them. The Canucks should have insisted the pick was unprotected for 2023. Why? They traded a guy who was not signing back. They offered him $7.5 million per. He's going to want 10. Is he worth 10? Is he worth 11? Probably not. Doesn't matter. We won't find out till somebody else signs him on UFA day. But what's the difference?
Emmanuel R. Grumpy.
Good evening, gents. I'll keep it simple. If Horvat signs, Islanders win this trade. He's a scorer they need and captain material. They already have a captain. What's interesting is the retention. What's next?
That's what should worry everybody, Emmanuel, because we're adding more pieces. We're giving up more draft capital and more prospects from our already barren prospect pool. So what prospects have value? Samuel Bolduc has value.
That's it.
Great. Let's trade him away. William DeFore has value. Great.
Not much.
Let's trade him away.
He can't skate. What we knew about what we thought about William DeFore is what we know now. He can't skate.
Could you imagine us trading away this trade deadline? Aatu Raty, William DeFore, a first, a second, and a third. Could you imagine that? I could see that. I could very well see that as a possibility. What we're going to do is we are going to add additional pieces, Emmanuel. That's why we had them retain that cap hit from Bo Horvat. Also, if he signs back, it's still a loss for the Islanders. We are going to need a full rebuild. Just because we've now we've traded for Bo Horvat, if we can magically sign him back, it does not fix the glaring issues we have on this team. We were not a one-person fix. The team is old. We have to still transition completely away from what we have. The only way to make that transition is through the draft. We're not going to say, hey, all these old vets, we're going ahead and trading you away, or we're letting the contracts expire, and then we're going to sign a whole bunch of new players via free agency.
There is some good news. There is some good news.
Well, what's the good news?
When Lamoriello's gone in 2 or 3 years, we're going to be like the worst team in the league, and we'll be picking the top 5 every year. It's going to be like Millbury. We're picking the top 5 every year, and Garth Snow. That's where we're going to be. We're going to be back to being the shitty Islanders.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We could play those 2 Eastern Conference semifinal runs, because that's, for a lot of the young people, that's going to be the last time you're going to see this team be viable.
Seriously, for older fans out there, this could be you may never see the Islanders win another cup.
Nope.
You may never see it again. For fans who witnessed the glory years, there's a very big possibility you may never see the Islanders win a cup. Not again.
That's me.
Seriously, Grump, you may never see the Islanders win another cup.
We're absolute minimum
10 years.
6 or 7 years away.
I think here's the thing. We're going to bottom out in a year or 2 years from now. And then best case scenario, right? If we bottom out a year or 2 years from now, it's at least bare minimum 5 years. Best case scenario, 7 years, probably 10. We're 10 years away from being competitive again. For those who are fans and watch the Islanders win 4 cups, you may never see another cup again because of what they did today. Hey, cheer it on. Go ahead and clap it on. Be excited now, I guess.
Let's get to some more comments. I'll read the comments because I want to get through them. I really did not want to give up Aatu. I didn't mind giving him up if you can get – you couldn't give up the first-round pick, but would have preferred Meyer. Forget Meyer. He would have cost even more. This is a good alternative option, though. Horvat is also a locker room leader, so the culture gets better. What is it? We supposedly have the best culture in the NHL. The whole thing is culture here.
I keep hearing about this all the time on Twitter, all this. Oh, he's a great locker room guy. Our fucking locker room is supposed to be solid, right? Oh, we're such a core group, a strong core. This team has been playing together for like a decade plus. We should have no need for additional locker room presence.
No.
God almighty. Rob.
No way he resigns. Rob! No way he resigns. Theo says, you don't make this trade if you don't believe he extends. Well, guess what? You should have talked to his agent about that.
They even talked to his agent.
So guess what? Somebody did make that trade without making that extension overture. Lamoriello also has a history of trading and extending guys and not letting them walk. Not big names. Not big names.
This is the biggest name player he's ever traded for. And here's the thing. If you already had a deal lined up to sign him additionally, you would have probably had to pay more money for that, or more more draft capital for that too. Don't smoke crack.
Don't smoke crack. If they don't make a push quick, then they need to flip him for picks. What would Carolina give up for a goal-scoring center? Carolina was hot on. Carolina wanted him.
What? Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Now here's what he should do. Here's what he should do. You have until trade deadline to sign a contract extension. If the answer is no, we're flipping at the deadline.
Could you imagine us flipping him at the deadline for less than we paid for? Dude,
I could see that. Thomas Vanek. I could see that.
You want to talk about incompetence? We already look desperate right now with this move, but my God, teams will leverage a shit out of us if that's the case. He'll be extended, is what Theo meant to say. I don't see it, Theo.
Why? All I'll say is, if you're Bo Horvat, why are you extending here?
He says he wants to be on a winning team. We didn't make the playoffs last year. We're not in a playoff picture this year. Do we think all of a sudden we're going to go ahead and revitalize what's going to happen this year?
Now, I love Declan. I love him. It's apropos that his picture is a Jets picture. Just so apropos. He'll quickly be a leader, the spark we need, and makes us a playoff team. Well, it does sound like Jets fans. I think the Jets will have their last 6. The salary retention to is king to allow us to make more moves. Probably a D-man from rumors from Islanders.
Insiders.
Yeah, not it. No.
We are going to give up more draft capital for a defenseman, and maybe we're going to give up Samuel Bolduc too.
Why would he resign? And his thing, they've had a history of resigning guys. Look at the guys he resigned. He gave a third line center $5 million a year. You're not getting that on the open market. He gave Kyle Palmieri $5 million a year.
Third line.
Kyle Palmieri wanted to stay because he lived on Long Island. That's why he re-signed those guys. He hasn't re-signed anybody else.
Yikes.
No.
Yikes. But we are going to trade for defensemen, and we are going to give up more draft picks and maybe another prospect. Maybe see you later, Samuel Bolduc. See you later, our number 1 and number 2 organizational prospect and our first, second, third round picks. So how are we excited yet, guys? Maybe we can make the postseason. We don't need first, second, and third round picks and our top 2 organizational prospects. Don't worry about it. Keep doubling down. It's like we're at a blackjack table. Right now we're at 24. Hit me. Hit me. We're well past blackjack. Hit. You're out, sir. You're out of chips. Hit.
Next comment, please.
State of survival.
We traded far enough ahead to know if he will sign or not. More than enough time to flip. Jesus Christ.
Rob.
I'm sorry.
As a fan, I'm lost.
Oh, no. You don't trade for a guy to flip him. Here's the thing. You should have talked to him about if he would extend with you, because now you just paint yourself in a corner.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. All right. Rob says, it's Lou. Thank you for the laugh, by the way. State of survival. God, man. Okay, thanks. It's Lou. He makes the trade for his own interest. His time is done, and he's selling the farm for one last grab at that ring. He's not doing what's best for the franchise. 100% agree, Rob.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's what I think, too. You go, Nick C. Grumpy.
Congratulations, Grump. You got what you wanted. Hope you're happy, LOL.
You did, you bastard. You did want Bo Horvat, and I told you no.
What did I not want, though? What did I not want?
Trade first round picks and Aatu Raty.
That's right. That was my caveat. Yes, I did want Bo Horvat, but you got to sign him.
Rick Roma.
Rick, man, you know what? There's not enough coffee. There's coffees for closers. Lou's got himself a cup of coffee, close that deal. But you know who's celebrating? You know who's pouring a little hot toddy into his coffee? It's Jim Rutherford. Thanks. Bo Horvat is having a career year at age 27 and will probably be overpaid. This year's version of Bo Horvat is an aberration.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Rick Roma. And then he says here, Declan says,
don't smoke crack. We aren't
giving up on Raty for a rental. He is re-signing. And if you heard his comments, it is promised. Oh, Declan, how many times do we have to hear from, I've heard really good things. I like it here. I heard some good things.
How the hell does he know what it's like here? He has no idea. He's going to say, you know what his agent's going to tell him? You know what? Let's explore the market. Let's explore the market.
Hey, they're only offering us $8 million. Yeah, you're the best free agent on the market right now. Let's go ahead and let's test those waters, okay?
Coming off a career year, they were offering you $7.5. What do you think? This guy wouldn't even give Johnny Gaudreau $9 million a year, and he's certainly more of an offensive player and a better producer than you are,
for certain.
Emmanuel says, I think the real question is, was it worth making this trade today? That's the whole thing. With the team out of a playoff spot, or should they have just stayed pat and start fresh this summer with a new GM? What they should have done, sell off all their rentals and Brock Nelson, reload, and then make a push in the summer for Bo Horvat. That's what they should have done.
You could have signed Bo Horvat for nothing.
For free.
Oh, man. I'm going to bring on Grumpy. I'm going to send Brandon an invite because he's going to have to be our voice of reason on the other side.
Brandon who?
Brandon Gaines. Grumpy, you remember Brandon Gaines?
Well, you said Brandon. I don't know what – I mean, I know a lot of people know Brandon. Wait.
Brandon, I'll let you keep reading comments there, Grumpy.
Okay, if Horvat doesn't resign, this will be the worst trade in Islanders history. You know what reminds me of? The movie Best of Times with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell, where they thought that he was going to lift the town out of lethargy, revitalize the town. They find out the team they're playing is loaded and ready to kick ass. They got Heisman Trophy winners on it. And like, I'm not going to save the team from lethargy. I'm going to destroy it. That's what today's trade is.
He's not going to save the town. He's going to destroy it. Is right.
Destroy it.
Kid Lester, Grumpy. Kid Lester.
Kid Lester comes back.
Oh, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Rob says spot on.
Always be looing.
Vanek, anybody says Rob. Nick C. Grumpy.
If Horvat does resign, what's he going to get? Because we need to extend Sorokin this summer as well. We don't need to resign him. Wait till he gets to unrestricted free agency before you tackle that one.
Yeah, we can wait. We can wait on.
Rick Roma. ABT, always A, always BBT trading away first round draft picks and prospects. Thank you, Rick Roma. Okay. I love Rick Roma.
Declan says he's going to get $9 million, right? God Almighty,
maybe more than that. Let's say he scores 50 goals this year, leads the Islanders to the playoffs. At 50 goals, what do you think he gets then?
He's at 31 goals now, so very, very possible maybe he can get 50. If he hits 50 goals, he's going to get what?
Well, at least Andy Francis should be happy. He's a player who's guaranteed to get 20 goals this year.
I think Andy's coming on with us this Wednesday, so that's going to help his 50 goal mark, his 20 goal mark. Joseph C says, I have to.
No, but see, guess because he thought Beauvillier might be a 20 goal scorer, so that's a subtraction there. Joseph C says, have to believe Horvat is going to want at least 9. Absolutely. He's not going to take anything less than.
He's going to be your new highest paid player.
But here's the thing. Let's say he gets 10 somewhere else. He's a captain. He's leader material too. He's like Ryan O'Reilly. He's going to get paid.
For a team that needs a leader, he's much more valuable than on the Islanders.
They have to keep him here. The only way we can salvage it is if we still get rid of everybody I talked about at the deadline, and then you re-sign him. Then I'm like, okay, I can live with it.
Not going to happen.
Don't Smoke Crack says, I understand that we didn't pick him up intending to be a rental, but if we're legitimately out of it at the deadline, I think we could get a few picks in return and not be total losers on this deal. And see, now you go. Now we're starting to think this is what it's really about. We were a little bit excited early, but now it's like, nope, this is because it's the Islanders. Not going to work out.
Rob.
Oh, wait, Rob says fire. TJ hired D-Cut. Holy shit, TJ, you're getting attacked. And TJ's still under the weather.
Yeah, I was about to say. Elon Avatal says 8 years times $8.5 million.
I guarantee he makes more money than that.
He's going to make more than that is right.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Bo Horvat's never put up more than 60 points in a season. Last year was his first year ever hitting 30 goals, but he's already at 31. Think about this. Last year, it was a career high for him in goals scored. He had 31 goals scored in 70 games. This year, through 49 games, his 31 goals scored.
I love Bo Horvat. I love Bo Horvat. Love Bo Horvat. Yes.
He's having a career year and a freaking contract season.
I love Bo Horvat. I do. I just hate what this trade signifies. That's what I hate.
I'm going to give up more picks. Phil's facts. I texted Phil's facts, by the way, Grumpy.
That loser. Why are you involving him?
Which lake is he getting? Which lake do they piss in again, Grumpy?
Whatever lake he's drinking from.
But I'll tell you this.
Lake Ontario? Whatever the hell it is. I don't know.
He said that now it's time to go ahead and make the trade for Adam Henrique.
Oh, my God. 32 years old. Well, there goes Bolduc and Bolduc, next year's number 1 and this year's number 2. What the hell? We don't need draft picks. Draft picks? We don't need no stinking draft picks.
I'm telling you, we are in trouble.
Within 2 years, everyone's gone off the team anyway. Then you start over from scratch.
Don't smoke crack, Grumpy.
No, I'm always worried with Lou and a player having a career at age 27 when a contract is due.
It's trouble, man. It's trouble anytime that happens.
Oh, man. I want him to stay with the team, though. I love him as a player.
Here's the thing. If he doesn't stay with the team, you're pretty much burned. You
killed it. You've destroyed.
They already have. And Emmanuel R. Grumpy.
Okay. I think Lou gives him 8 times 8. That's a fair deal for both sides. He's already turned down 7.5. And Jim Rutherford said, yeah, we offered him 7.5. That's what he was previously. He's certainly perform that deal, he's going to make a lot more in free agency. 8.8 is not going to get it done.
You're going to be giving up at least 8.5, if not 9+.
And
He's
then
going to be making map bars all, if not more. The longer he plays this way, the more he's going to earn.
And then Emmanuel goes on, but that deal has to be signed soon before Horvat finds out what a mess the Islanders are in.
Oh,
that's why you had to have him signed before you made the deal.
Oh, good gracious. Hold on. We'll bring in Brandon. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? How are you? Now, hopefully, you have a different point of view on this.
So I'm a lot happier than you two right now. Absolute pleasure, though, to be invited here. So for me, actually, no, seriously, thank you for actually letting me on here again.
Always.
But so for me, I mean, it's Bo Horvat. He's a 1C, 2C type of player. Now, if he walks, disaster trade, bar none. I don't think you make this trade for a rental like Horvat. If you're giving up Raty, who is probably a 2C, 3C type of player, if you're giving up a first rounder that's only top 12 protected, and you can make a case Beauvillier and or Bailey would have to be thrown in a trade like that as a salary dump to make it work. And if you're getting, Vancouver to retain salary, I don't see this being a rental when it comes to making a trade for Horvat. That's for me. If I'm proven wrong, disaster of a deal.
I don't think we know because he hasn't even talked. Talked with him yet.
He was hanging out with his family at Disney. He's not going to forsake his family.
The agent said,
yeah,
that was not part of the negotiations.
Yeah, well, so apparently, and I heard that too. So what happened was Vancouver wasn't letting any negotiations from other teams take place with Horvat before the trade happened. They didn't let anything go.
Does that not let your spidey senses go kind of like the spidey senses kind of tingling a bit because hey, we're not going to let you talk about, why won't you let us talk about any sort of trade negotiation or
you know what that means to me? You know what it says to me? It says he's not negotiating in season and he's going to be unrestricted at the end of the year. That's what it says to me. If they won't even let you talk to him, he's going to wait. He wants to cash in. I don't blame him.
Well, yeah, and he should. He should. I mean, it's Bo freaking Horvat. He was the heart and soul of that Vancouver Canucks team.
And I love the player. Love the player.
He's a great player. And I know there's, he's had a few dings here and there regarding health, but he was the heart and soul of that Canucks team. And if I'm Horvat, I'm like, F you guys. You paid Miller before me, considering that I went through complete ups, good ups and very, very low downs, and you give this guy and a long-term extension over me? Screw you guys. I'm not staying with your team. Like the way they handled everything, like with Bruce Boudreau, taking back OEL in that horrible trade with Arizona, not managing their finances properly. They didn't have any money to pay Horvat because of contracts like OEL, like Myers, and now, to a lesser extent, JT Miller. Of course, if I'm Horvat, I'm like, why am I sticking around for this? I know he gave his old players speak saying, I didn't expect a trade. That's just player speak. He has to say something like that just to make sure he could, look good publicly. Like he knew that he was going to get booted in this regard. Now, if he walks, horrible trade, horrible investment, in my opinion.
So your viewpoint is he was disgruntled with the team that they saw. I mean, JT Miller's performed better than Bo Horvat on a consistent year in, year out basis, except this year, which is a contract year for him.
But he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
I was about to say, JT Miller has outperformed Bo Horvat.
I love Bo Horvat. I love him. He's a guy that I said, yes, I want, except I don't want to give up first round draft pick. I didn't care what else you gave up, but I didn't want to give up first round draft pick. Sorry.
Are you not worried? Yeah. Are you not worried about the precedent this sets? We have them retain 25% of the cap hit. We are now going to trade additional pieces away. I mean, let me ask you this. From fans who are like, even if he signs back, are we not worried what this does? I mean, are you planning on rooting for the Islanders in 2025 and 2026 and 2027? We're not going to do anything. It's like don't even bother turning the TV on. That's how bad the games are going to be.
So, I mean, it depends on what happens afterwards. If this is your only move, and if Horvat walks, it's an absolute disaster. Now, if there's more creativity, if there's a way you could recoup draft capital by moving some veterans off your team, and keeping Horvat in the process, then yes, it's a successful in terms of investment. It's a successful season.
Agreed.
But if
What
this
makes
is
you
your
think he'll do that though?
why not? He made 19 freaking trades with the Leafs when he tore it down.
Well, hold on. Now with the Leafs is different than how it is with us.
How?
They take his power away from him with the Leafs because he's screwing everything up. Look what he did with the Devils. This is what he's doing with us is more like what he did with the Devils than what he did.
I was about to say with the Leafs, he was on a full rebuild it from the ground up, and it was a different mantra when he came there. For here, right? For our guys, hey, trust Lou Lamoriello. And Lou Lamoriello, how many more times did he say that I trust in the core group of this team? Do you really think he's going to start trading away veterans and players on expiring contracts? I just don't see that. He's not done that once since being
okay. Now here's the thing. I like Brandon's thinking. If that's what he does,
I have no problem.
Even though I'm absolutely against trading the first round pick, if they say, okay, we're moving Mayfield, we're moving Varlamov, we're moving Parise, we're moving Nelson to reload on draft picks. Well, here's the thing. You're either all in or you're all out.
Yeah, but for me, if I'm moving Nelson, I'm waiting to the offseason to move him. Because I would keep my top 6 loaded the way it is right now and then shuffle the deck a little bit by moving Nelson during the offseason.
You don't make a trade like this without having a contract in place unless you're saying we're going all in for this year. I just there's nothing would indicate, nothing gives me any sort of clarity or to indicate that we're going to be selling anything this trade deadline. We're only buying.
That's my
so let me get creative here. So let me throw in the LA Kings as a huge example. They're first in the division with a negative goal differential. Now, people who don't really follow the Kings that well, I'm not saying you two don't, you probably do. Their goaltending is a shit show. It is an utter shit show. Quick, Peterson, and to a lesser extent, Phoenix Copley have been terrible for them. The LA Kings, though, are one of the most dominant 5-on-5 teams in the league. Now, let's say you get creative here. Let's say you swap Varlamov for Jonathan Quick's cap hit. Now, they get Quick's money off the books. They take in Varlamov's $5 million cap hit. They give us some draft capital to offset, the salary increase that we're taking from Quick. Do you don't think that softens the blow from a trade potentially that we made to get Horvat?
Why would Lou Lamoriello do that?
Why not? Why not? You if you get to play Sorokin more. You'll have to rotate Sorokin and Varlamov all the time if that's the case.
He's never traded a vet off this team. He's never traded a veteran off this team.
Lou Lamoriello with a trade like this, is saying we're trying to win a cup now. What helps you win a cup now more? Having a backup goalie who is, a starter for most teams in the NHL that you have on cap certainty through the end of this year, or saying, hey, we want to trade for a cap hit and say we want to downgrade in the backup goalie. So if Sorokin gets banged up, now we have an uncertainty coming in that. He's not going to trade away the certainty.
I mean, there was no issue in Tampa does that. Tampa had Brian Elliott as their freaking backup goaltender, and they had no issue with putting all their eggs in Vasilevsky. If the Islanders truly want to see if they could put all their eggs in Sorokin, this is an area that you would try to explore.
They had Brian Elliott from the start of the year. It wasn't like they acquired Brian Elliott like halfway through or anything like that. We've had Varlamov, and we're going to keep him. There's no reason or thought process to think like the same thing with Mayfield. We could say Mayfield's going to earn you a whole bunch at the deadline. They're not going to subtract from the current teams like depth, and they're not going to go ahead and subtract from that and say we want to add draft capital. With a move like this, all we're going to be doing is continuing to add to this team. We're not subtracting from this team if we're trying to make a cup run.
See, that's what here's the thing. I like Brandon's thought process because that's exactly where I'm at. I'm fine with this if we do it. I just don't think, and this is where I agree with TJ. You mentioned you got to be creative. Well, I think the only thing Lou's creative now is if he's going to take a pill laxative or prunes every day. It's not about hockey trades anymore.
Which one's first, though?
I just don't think at age 80 he's that creative anymore. I just think he gives up. Oh, you want that? Okay, here you go. I think he gets fleeced on every single deal. And I agree with TJ. I don't think he's going to sell at the deadline. I'm afraid he's going to buy. But even if you stand still, it's just as bad.
Well, for me, I think you could sell and buy depending on what you're giving up and what you want to bring in. It depends on your objective. For me, like let's say, like I said, let's say if you could say you get a couple second rounders in that quick for Varlamov swap because LA needs goaltending badly.
I'm fine with that.
They do. Like, they have no goaltending whatsoever, and they're not going to last long in the Stanley Cup playoffs if they don't address that. They need to fix that. They can't have Quick or Peterson or Copley as their starters. It's dreadful. They need to fix that. And I don't think Varlamov would not want to go there. It's not like, going to freaking Canada or anything like that. It's only for half a season, and you get to be showcased as their starter. I don't see an issue with that if there's an offer like that available.
Varlamov has already said he wants to re-sign back here. He loves it here, and he loves it on Long Island. He doesn't.
I'm taking a pay cut. I'll stay.
He's not
That's
going.
Okay, I'm fine. He loves it. He's part of the cul-de-sac crew right now.
Mayfield's part of the cul-de-sac crew. All of these guys said they don't want to leave. They're not going to get. Here's the thing, right? These little handshake deals that Lou Lamoriello. Hey, we're not trading you until the end of this. We're not getting rid of you. Here you go, Chara, handshake deal. Here you go, Parise, handshake deal. Here you go, Clutter, handshake deal. He's not being moved. None of these players that should be moved that are on expiring contracts will be moved. And this is, you could see the writing. If you pay attention to it enough, you could see the writing on the wall. They are not going to move anybody that they should. And that is what scares the living shit out of me, because just like this trade that happened for Romanov last year, it set the freaking bar for what was going to happen this year at the trade deadline and what has happened and what will continue to happen. I thought the only thing that could be our saving grace was the miserable run that we were on. Many losses, 2 wins out of 13 games. I thought maybe this can be our saving grace because we're playing like such shit, but Lou Lamoriello finds a way.
Well, again, do you have that same mentality if Horvat signs an extension?
I don't think Horvat signing an extension does anything positive for us.
Why?
Do you think that Horvat at age 29 years old, when our team's in a full-on rebuild, does us any good?
Why? If you're entering a full-on rebuild, you have to trade Barzal to make that happen.
We're not going to move Barzal on a full-on rebuild. That's one of the pieces you don't move just because he's got.
You can't rebuild. You can't rebuild with him on the team, though. You can't.
No. You can. You don't rebuild. You lose guys like Noah Dobson. You lose guys like Sorokin. You lose guys like Wallstrom if they come up and play. Those are the guys who have flexibility with the dollars that can be spent on them are the guys that you lose. It's tough to move a guy who's on a $9.1 million a year contract that have like 6 or 7 years left on the deal at that point. That's a tough guy to move. It's easier to move a guy like Sorokin who, hey, I've got a contract extension coming up. Let's work something out. Or Noah Dobson, who still had 2 years left of team control. Like, those are guys you can move. It's tough to move the guy who makes $9.1 million a year. And a guy like Horvat who's going to make $9+ million a year too, going to be tough to move a guy like.
Now, here's the thing, Brandon. I have to agree with TJ on that point, even though he's being a little over pessimistic. Because, we've been told for years and years, we absolutely cannot move Anders Lee in that contract. Yeah. So it's even tougher to move Matt Barzal, who hasn't even started his extension. I think it's tough. I don't know. For me, here's the thing. The only way I can try to spin this as a positive, first of all, he's got to resign. And number 2, we got to move all those UFAs at the deadline and get first rounds and second round picks back. And then, okay, we can, because I wanted Bo Horvat. Love Bo Horvat. The type of guy that I
love him too.
I mean, I love him. I think he's going to be great with Barzal. I could only dream about if Gaudreau was with that group too. That ship has sailed. But for me, you have to move. You can't keep Mayfield. You can't keep Varlamov. You can't keep Parise. You cannot keep those guys going on some, hey, maybe we'll make a run at the playoffs, because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, because we're not going to win a cup. And if Bo Horvat leaves, it's an abject. This deal is just a total failure.
It's a complete failure. It's probably not as bad as, say, like the Trevor Linden trade that Milbury made, but of course it would be a disaster if you don't keep Bo Horvat. Yeah. But for me, I mean, he's 27. He's not old, and I don't know. Like, if you put him on Barzal's line and Barzal is not really good on the dot, then all of a sudden you have Horvat on the middle, Barzal to be on the winger. That takes the pressure off of Barzal's middle of the ice game. Yep. So therefore he could attack up front more. I know we're very upset with the way the Islanders have looked this year. I think, though, compared to how the Canucks have played, I still think it's a breath of fresh air for a guy like Bo Horvat, considering all the dysfunction that's happened with that organization within the past 12 months. So knowing that, I like the chances of him staying. Now, what his deal will be is a different discussion. Are you going to give him 8.5? Are you going to give him 9? Are you going to pay him on this one contract year? Or are you going to be smart and use the previous 3 years as the proper outlier to discuss the money with him? What's going to happen?
He's going to want big money. He's going to want probably a Matt Barzal, if not more, deal. He's a guy who's second year in a row scoring 30-plus goals, right? If on this pace right now, right? He's on pace to hit 50 goals this season on a contract year. And that's something. A guy on a contract year averaging over a point a pace, never had over 61 points in his entire NHL career over an 82-game season. But hey, he's on pace to hit more than a point a game and maybe 50 goals. Isn't that something? I'll tell you this much, right?
He's not going to hit 50 goals playing on this team.
Here's the thing, playing along Matt Barzal, you have no idea.
Well,
I really feel like playing along Matt Barzal, it's a good. Here's the thing, right? For the right now, it helps. But this is the thing. We're not one player away from winning a cup.
No.
It's like, so we're going to add more pieces. We're not trading away anyone. So don't that's what I mean. Like when we're trying to go over how can we salvage this, don't even put, for listeners of the show, don't even try to paint it as a positive on that side. It's not happening. Don't try to put yourself into some sort of false blanket of false security blanket that maybe we're going to try to recover some assets and maybe we can make this. We're not. We're only going to be adding. So anything you're looking at right now regarding our draft capital, regarding our prospect pool, just start subtracting a few in your head because that's what's realistically going to happen. And at that point, what are we looking at? We're looking at maybe we can make a postseason run. Maybe we can make a run to get into the postseason. And maybe we could sign back Bo Horvat and our rebuild is going to be 5 or 6 years. That's what it is. That's what today has cemented.
Here's the thing. I'm just going to say that that the 2023 draft pick will be the one that Vancouver gets because we're not going to come in bottom 12.
No, even if we did, we're not going to come bottom 12.
We're going to be, whatever, probably 14, 15, something like that if we don't make playoffs. We're not. Remember, the West is really bad.
Correct.
I mean, all those teams
horrible.
in the West they're the teams that, even the teams that make the playoffs, I forget, they don't reseed them, do they? Even if they have less, if you make the playoffs,
they just do the points. Yeah.
Okay. I unless you come in the final four, I think the final four reseeded. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, like I said, I want to believe that we're going to sell some of the veterans. I just don't.
What would make you?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I want to believe, but everything I see, if everything you see from Lou Lamoriello from his time here, it doesn't say that we're selling. It says we're just going to try to, whatever we got to do to try to make the playoffs.
We think this team can win a cup because I believe in the core of this group. What this year has showed you to believe in the core of this group? Absolutely fucking nothing.
Can I just say something else, Brandon? One thing about TJ is when he's sick, he's really mean.
You're sick right now? What's wrong?
TJ's sick. He's been sick for about a week or so.
I'm just but I'm telling you, this trade has made me, it's almost vomit inducing.
Very angry.
As of this afternoon, I started getting violently ill. But yeah.
So if I can interject for one quick second.
Yeah.
So you're saying, so we all agree that Lou said, we believe in the core of this group.
Yes.
I don't believe it because Lou literally just traded a part of this core to get Horvat.
Well, hold on.
Essentially.
We traded one piece.
And he's sucked the past 2 years.
We traded third line left winger for
we dumped his cap hit essentially. So I don't believe I don't believe in the loyalty aspect. People want to say like, oh, he's so loyal, fired Tromps with 1 year left on his deal, exposed Eberle to Seattle 2 years after signing him, traded Taves 2 years after signing him, trade away Nick Leddy for the pick that got us Aatu Raty. I feel like if there's a move that he or if any general manager sees is plausible to make the team better short and long term, he's going to do it. I really just don't buy into loyalty stuff at all. If there's a good offer out there for Varlamov, he'll do it.
Does Bo Horvat make us better long term? I don't.
If he resigns, absolutely he does.
He does. If he resigns,
absolutely, yes.
He's our second best. If he resigns, he's our second best forward.
Absolutely.
You think at 32 years old, 30,
But he's not 32. He's
hold on.
27.
Long
He's
term,
27.
long
Oh,
term,
oh,
ladies and
you're-
gentlemen.
okay, no,
Ladies
you
and
can't do
gentlemen,
that.
long term is not 2-3 years from now, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen. Long term, guess what? We're all planning on being Islander fans for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? That's long term. I'm not planning on quitting being an Islander fan fucking 2 years from now
Okay,
when the team goes to shit.
8 years from now, probably most all the players on this team are going to be gone. Right?
Yeah.
You're looking at
Now
8
we're
years
going to
from
be
now.
8 years from now. We're still going to be cheering the Bridgeport Islanders on that are wearing New York Islanders kits. That's what we're going to be cheering for. Like, I'm not planning on stopping being an Islander fan when the team starts going to shit. And what I'm worried about is we're going to be shit for a long time when it happens. We don't have the window's closed. The window has been closed since last year.
I like
And
it
we're
when TJ
continuing
would
to double down and throw anything we can to help get us back to that point. We're just throwing it down the drain.
I liked it when TJ was a little bit more innocent and he was more of a Pollyanna fan. Then I could play my mean guy routine.
We weren't wrong. We weren't wrong.
No, I didn't say we were wrong. I'm just
not wrong this year.
okay. I'm just saying. Now, Brandon, we do want to continue on. TJ, some of these comments absolutely look hilarious.
Oh God. Okay.
So I'm just
I'll
interested
let you
in
continue to read them, Grumpy.
Yeah, you matter. Yeah, that's fine. Declan says again, 27 is good. Most guys peak and reach their high around 30 or 31. Not true.
Not true.
Not true.
27 is where they peak, which
That's
is my
right.
guy.
That's a peak is the peak is now. Yeah.
No, he did not sign an extension, Apex Legends.
Yeah, not yet.
Didn't even talk about it. Even better, didn't even talk about it.
His agent didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, it's all right. Not a condition. We don't care. We got plenty. Like Lamro says, when you got time, you use it. Well, guess what? He's got plenty of time to look out for a brand new team come June 1st.
Wow,
July 1st. Grump explosion coming. I think I did have an explosion earlier on today.
There it is. Don't smoke crack, Grump.
Yeah, and then stick around the cul-de-sac for another 4 years. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true.
What's up, Meatball Parm? Brian J saying, what a terrible trade. Mikey D saying, what the fuck did Lou just do? It's just more looking at the short term. I'm flummoxed.
I love Bo Horvat. See, that's why I gave it a D as opposed to
I could care less.
As opposed to a negative letter grade, that hasn't even been invented yet. I gave it a D only because I love the player. I'm just afraid. To me, I'm afraid of what it means. That's my biggest thing. I'm afraid of what it means. It means we're again going to roll out the same cast and crew next year because we can't get the hockey trade done without trading out all our futures. That's just, to me, that's just disappointing.
So what would happen? What grade would you give it if Bo Horvat signs an extension, though, Grum?
It depends on what else is done. If we roll back the same group, it's not going to make a difference.
No, it won't.
The only thing that would change this is if we sell pieces, which isn't happening.
Right,
so
right. If we sell pieces, he resigns, we sell pieces, and then we move Nelson in the offseason or Pajot, one of the two, to get younger or get some younger players on here. Then I would give the trade probably, because I'm so against giving up, I'd probably give it a B.
Well, okay, let's play what actually will happen. So we're not trading any pieces away at the deadline. Let's play what actually will happen.
It's this letter here, the one that has been created.
Even if he signs back, it's still an ultimate failure if we don't trade away pieces.
Well, you're right. Because Bo Horvat's not enough to put us on. It's not like we're getting the Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. It's just not. I mean,
even if he signs back, it's still a complete failure.
And I want this player. I absolutely want this player. I do.
The wrong direction the team's headed in. What he's done, Mikey D, is he's closed any ability for retool, and now you've got me changing my tune. Well, we're probably going to have to trade the best goalie that this franchise has ever seen. That's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, Declan there, Grumpy.
Absolutely nothing to be upset about. We need change, and we got it. Sounds like a Jets fan. That's a Jets fan right there. Nick C says, we're all on the win now train, regardless if you bought a ticket. Welcome to the shit show, boys. Hope for the best. The future doesn't look so good.
The future looks awful. We're Grumpy. We're at the caboose. We're being drug on this freaking train.
I like it. We're on the win all now train, regardless if you bought a ticket or not.
That's exactly right. Oh man, AP.
Opie says if we extend him in tank so we get a top 12 pick this year, I'll be happy. That's not happening.
That's correct. We're adding more pieces. My little brownie.
She says, my little brownie says, am I on glue? We have a Monday show. What did I miss today? Big trade.
Jared there, Grump.
I can't believe Lou thought this was the way to go. He's desperate. Freedom Fun Adventure says, nice job, boys, doing a show when big news breaks. TJ, hope you're feeling better. He's not. I wanted Horvat as a UFA. So did I. The player. Delighted Bo was gone. Not delighted he was gone, but hey, he needed change of scenery. Disgusted Raty when the first was gone. Unhappy Raty was traded. Disgusted the first rounder is gone.
Yep.
I will say that.
Pony Bacurta saying, wow, speechless. Wow, what in the F? Nick D. Grumpy.
I have mixed emotions. I didn't want to see our first rounder go or Raty, but we did get Horvat, who's no slouch. He's not slouch. He's not a slouch.
No, he's not. Not at all.
Andrew L. Grumpy.
The biggest millennial meltdown the show has ever seen incoming.
I was looking forward to this all day.
Oh, man. I don't think Bo Horvat, right? I think Bo Horvat's a good fit.
Oh, wait a minute. These are comments before we even started the show.
Yes.
Before the show even started. I can't even imagine.
I read all this before you went on. It was hilarious.
I can't even imagine what the comments are going to be because I did have a little bit of an explosion. I did.
Grumpy already shaking his head.
That's how I knew because I was shaking my head when the show started. Yes.
Charles D. say, good move if we sign him. Frank K. Grumpy. It's up on the screen.
Trade for a guy who could be Brady Anderson and who's a UFA. Lou has the Islanders, the Devils, who are finally recovering from his disaster. Cup or bust, end of story. I have that feeling also. Rob, go Grump, go. Must have heard it. Okay.
We got to re-sign back Sorokin.
Yeah.
Or how are we going to sign back Sorokin? We can make the cap space if we need it, but I'm telling you, when this rebuild here's the thing. Could you imagine if we don't make the postseason again? Because that's very possible.
Buffalo.
The
Buffalo's good. Buffalo's good.
They're getting hot with a lot of young talent at the right time. Just like last year, they got really hot too.
Buffalo, I'd try to move Scott Mayfield to Buffalo for a first and a second.
We're not moving any pieces away from this team.
I'm just saying what I would try to do. I want to move guys off this team.
What we should do is we should want to go ahead and rip Lou Lamoriello out of his seat and rip everything Lamoriello off of anything Islanders related and get their asses out of here. That's what we should want to do. We should want to perform so fucking poorly that son of a bitch won't be back the year after. That's
the roof of the Flyers even.
As I told you, last podcast, I am actively rooting for the Islanders to lose every single game because that is the only thing that will that's the only thing that will cause fans not to show up to games, which would cause ownership not to bring back Lou Lamoriello. Lou Lamoriello is not the answer.
No, listen to me. If the fans don't go to games, who's going to chant Lou must go or whatever that chant is? So that
their silence will be deafening. The silence will be deafening. We don't even need Lou must go chants, Grump.
Okay.
Nixie.
We're all in the win now trade, regardless. We already read this one.
Okay.
Yeah, we already did that one.
Oh, gosh.
I'm having Ryan Smith moments right now.
Freedom Fun Adventure.
Explains why Lou didn't care about burning a year off Ratu's contract.
That does make 100%. That does make sense. Didn't give a fuck about it. He said, I'm going to play you as a fourth line center playing 7 minutes a night. You didn't give a shit about the entry level deal.
All right. Calm down over there. Hot shot. Clear Lou was going for it. I wanted the team to sell and tank. You guys think Lou was Mayfield, Parise, and Varley now? Ugh, that's what I'm afraid. We're just going to keep everybody and run it back.
Yep, that's what's happening.
That's what I'm afraid.
You know who could potentially be for sale though, because the Islanders chose to play him instead of Waterspoon. Bolduc could probably be for sale too.
Oh God!
I already told you. That's what I said earlier. I said Bolduc second and third round too.
Bolduc has looked good.
He has, but that could.
Yeah, but you cannot keep doing that. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of everyone who has any value and just get more old guys. Just to span the franchise in a couple of years.
Well, right? Well, not necessarily an old guy, but what if you What if Bolduc, I'm not saying this will happen, obviously, but what if Lou somehow wakes up, gets creative, and packages Bolduc for a 25, 27-year-old top 6 winger? Would you be opposed to that?
I don't see that happening.
I know. I'm saying, though,
No,
if the opportunity presented itself, though, if it did, would you be opposed to that?
Hold on.
Depends on who the winger is.
I'm done. I used to play, and last year we used to play. Let's pretend like we're waking up on Christmas morning and imagine the best case scenario.
That's true. That's true.
How
We
many
used to do
times
that.
did we,
Brandon, we used to do that all the time. But you know what? You get kicked in the teeth every single year. It's
Yeah.
tough to believe in
every
that.
year I imagine coming
Every
down
year.
the stairs to a red tricycle and a Red Ryder BB gun, and we get socks and freaking t-shirts. Okay, so
And we get
I'm
bunny pajamas.
I'm done imagining a perfect Christmas morning. That shit never happens. What would give us the indication that something good like that would happen? I just don't see it. Like when we see like Bolduc, you mentioned Bolduc. I think Bolduc probably will be moved. So this trade deadline, right? We trade away our first and second best, or first
job,
and
Brandon.
second
Good job.
organizational prospects, and we're trading a first, maybe a second and a third round pick away. So we trade away our top 2 prospects and maybe picks 1 through a first, second, and third round pick this year. Hey, don't worry about it. We're all in for the cup now. Rebuild, we're going to make it maybe a 6-year rebuild now. Hey, who cares? We'll just keep on adding a few years to the end of it. I won't be in charge of the team by
I'll be
then.
dead by then.
Yes.
Who matters?
Yeah, he don't care by that. He might be dead by then.
Fans,
I mean,
fans,
no.
they don't
Yeah.
imagine being fans.
He's 80.
Okay, if you woke up tomorrow and said Lou Lamoriello passes away, would you go, oh? It's not like it's like, oh, he's 40. No, he's freaking 80.
Yeah, he's 80. He's old as shit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, come on, should not be running a hockey team. No.
If Lou Lamoriello passed yesterday, it would be less damage to the team.
Oh, come on now.
Wow, no, come on.
He is. Hold on. He is continuing to double down for the short term. I'm not saying
The
it's a
show
good
is taking a dark turn,
less
I think.
damage
The
long
show is
term.
taking a dark turn. All right, let's get to some more comments. I want
Oh
to
my gosh, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything so morbid. I'm not rooting for anybody's death. I'm just saying it'll be less long-term damage.
if he was dead, is what you said.
I didn't say that.
You said if he
I said
died
if he would have
yesterday.
passed yesterday, say it would be less long-term damage. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not rooting for anybody's death.
I mean,
Next
that's-
comment.
ugh.
Next comment,
That's-
please.
Anyway,
Wow.
leave me alone.
You complain about me saying things? I mean, geez, that's the worst thing ever. D-Cut says if he doesn't sign by trade deadline, you have to move him. Man, that would be another fail, though, wouldn't it? That would be a fail. That'd be a real failure.
Michael B.
Property Brothers.
I don't think they give a shit about the team's long-term success either. I question the ownership group. I do.
See, TJ, they finally broke him today. TJ's been broken by the Islanders.
I cannot believe that an ownership group who invested how many hundreds of millions of dollars building a brand new arena would be so short-sighted to say, I want a team to be successful the first 2 or 3 years to then suck for the next 6 or 7 years. That doesn't happen with an ownership group that plans to be here long-term. That happens.
I don't think they are going to be here long term either.
Oh, no. Don't feed him. Stop feeding him, Brandon. Stop feeding him.
You see what this means? It means that the ownership group does not give a shit about long-term success either. We are going to further get dug into this hole. I'm telling you, it's not good. It's not a good day. This is, as I mentioned on the space earlier, today is a day that we will look back on and say, this is the day that cemented the lack. This is the day that cemented
The day the music died.
It's a day, yeah, sure. It cemented the day the music died too. Sure. It cements in the current path that the Islanders are on. It does.
Okay. Rob says this means Fredo is a certitude. Okay. Andre says great trade. Islanders should be buying and selling. Mayfield should be moved to get a first liner. Horvat will sign and is young to be a core piece for longer term. You know what, Andre? If everything was sugar drops and lollipops, it'd be fantastic. I unfortunately don't believe that's the case. Matthew S. says, awful trade. Ja S. says, see, I'm a mixed bag with this. Tony Pino Jr. says, great trade. I love it. Chris K says, got to get rid of Varley and Mayfield for picks and prospects. Do that and re-sign Horvat, and I'm okay with this. I think that's a general consensus. If we can, but that's the only way you can spin it, right? to make
Why spin and lie about what our thoughts are? Do we really have we?
No. I'm talking about that's how this can turn out to be a positive. You still, because I love the player. And
This can turn out to be a positive if we win a Stanley Cup for the next 4 years in a row. I think that could be a possibility. Very, very slim one, but a possibility. Sure.
Did you take your meds?
Yeah,
before you
Grumpy.
got
I
on
took
the
my meds
podcast?
before I came on
I
here.
don't think so. It doesn't sound like it.
I like the pig being protected, but Ratu being sad there. Rob!
All these UFAs are going to walk, save Parise for nothing.
Tom Whitegrump.
If Lou resigns Horvat, we win. If not, Yokes and Lou's yikes probably, and Lou's done. Ratu is the wild card. Still improving in this league. All right, what's he, 19?
Yeah, no, I think he's 20 now, but whatever.
He's old. He played like 6 minutes and out on the fourth line.
Played a handful of games, dropped from the first round to his second time will tell. I think he showed in his limited ice time that he will be a player in the league, though.
For certain he will. And that's going to
I don't know how good, but he'll definitely be a player.
Remember that trade that St. Louis made when they went ahead and traded Tage Thompson and a first-round pick for Ryan O'Reilly? Well, if we don't win, right, I'm not saying Aatu Raty will be Tage Thompson, but Aatu Raty will be a consistent NHLer. That is for certain. You could tell by what you've seen already from him.
He's so angry today.
Ryan J.
I can't believe it. He couldn't do this last year. Well, yeah, no.
I'm telling you. Michael B.
Thank goodness my daughter's a Penguins fan.
Yeah, lucky her.
Frank K says they have no youth farm system. They have many holes in this team. True. Brian J. Okay. Brian J says, hey, dum, a lot of good moves at the players at 12. Mikey D says, what if Bo walks in UFA and we miss the playoffs? Well, that is a possibility. Matter of fact, I would say probably, I want to say it's 50-50 that both things those things happen.
My God.
Yeah.
Right? Would you
if that happens?
That's 50. I mean, if you're placing odds on not making the playoffs and him walking in free agency, I think that's 50-50. I really do. Rick Roma says, Lou does things under the table. He knows Horvat will re-sign with the Islanders. I really believe that. Well, he hasn't even talked to the agent. So I just think that I wouldn't say that's true.
You better feel really confident that we're getting those Glengarry, Glenn Ross, or Glengarry. What is it, Grumpy? Glengarry, what the hell is it again?
Glengarry, Glenn Ross.
Glenn Ross leads. That's what.
I hope they release that property.
Okay, gosh almighty. Here you go. Patrick H. Grumpy.
There's a strong rumor leak that they already agreed to an extension behind the scenes.
Yeah, I saw that on Reddit, actually. They said it was around 8.5 times 7. That was the rumor on subreddit.
Would he take a 7-year
Why
deal
would he take less
8?
than what Vancouver was offering him when he said he wanted more than what
Vancouver has no room to keep him, and they knew he was leaving. They have no cap space to afford him. None.
I heard they offered him 7.5 per is what they offered him.
Yeah, if I'm Horvat, I'm saying F you. I'm not taking that.
Right. And the GM even admitted that it was based on what he'd done previously, that he should get more.
Yeah. I mean, you don't pay a UFA primarily just on the contract year. You have to base it off of the previous 3 years of how you value the player going forward. That's what smart GMs do. But we'll see. We'll see if that subreddit rumor is true.
Now, where did you see that? So, hold on. This was just a random rumor on Reddit.
A couple people posted it. It was a few hours ago. At the time of the trade, this was before he and Lou spoke to the Islanders media crew at 7:00. Sure, you can find it somewhere. This computer is slow. This computer is slow as shit, so I can't really find it.
But Ariel says he's going to sign. LOL.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think Bo resigns, and if we go on a run, which we will not, okay. A letter to be named later.
That's
right. That's for, if he doesn't resign, it gets a letter that is so negative that it hasn't been named yet. Patrick H says there was a leak a couple hours ago before that was deleted, which included that they already had an extension worked out.
Hold on. Is this
Lou probably sent his henchman to have him take it down?
Is this the rumor we're talking about here?
So he found that on one of the subreddits, though. Yes, I do recall seeing that, though.
Yeah.
I mean that's his market value. 8.5. That's his value. No more, no less.
I like him. I'd sign for that deal. I like Horvat though, TJ. I do. I love him. You know that. I like him. D-Cut says, doing that trade now gives us a month to get a deal done. Kevin Barlow says, hey, Ariel says he's 27. We still might sell off Mayfield and Varley for picks. We might get a first back.
What makes question for everybody who wants to believe this. And here's the thing. It's a good thing to want to believe. What makes us think that we're selling away Mayfield, who is a valuable member of this team defense? So we're going to add Bo Horvat to try to make our team better for the now, but then we're going to take a step backwards by selling Mayfield. So we want to take a step backwards in the defense department.
Unless
it doesn't make sense.
Unless they don't think much of Aatu, which I
hard to believe. Hard to believe.
And they figure, well, Horvat can extend the window of this aging group of players that we have now. That's the only thing that I think could be possible.
I personally don't see that. I feel like if there's a decent offer out there for Mayfield or Varlamov, I don't see why, if you're Lou, you don't bite on that. Look at what the Panthers gave up foolishly to get Ben Sherratt last year.
Right.
If Lou gets a similar deal done, like a similar deal offered for a player like Mayfield and or Varlamov, there's no reason why he wouldn't bite on that. There's no reason why he wouldn't.
Unless people only start offering him seconds because they're like, well, he'll take whatever because he's lost his fastball, and then he doesn't make any move.
The reason he wouldn't do that is because he thinks the team can win a Stanley Cup.
If he thinks his team can win a Stanley Cup, then why did he fire Barry Trotz and hire a rookie?
They tuned.
He had stopped listening to Barry.
They tuned.
This guy continues. I don't know how many more times he's got to say it out to the media for maybe people to believe him. Where he says, "This team we believe in." I think he actually says he believes what he says. Listen to this. Look at it. Look at the facial reactions he has where he says, well, anybody who doubts us, they're playing Monday morning quarterback. Oh, it's so easy to. He believes 110% this team's going to win a cup, and he believes that he's got nothing wrong with his way of thinking. I don't know what, right? They're not going to do anything. He's not going to make any trade that's going to affect his team's ability to win right now. He's not moving Mayfield. He's not moving Varlamov. He's not moving Parise.
So if a first rounder was offered for Mayfield, Lou would just say nope.
Absolutely say no. They could offer him 3.
I doubt that.
I'm going to say, you realize he could have done that last year at the deadline too.
And he absolutely
could have sold Mayfield and got at least a first and a second for him last year.
At least he had a year left on team certainty after that year, making
never making the playoffs last year. Like I said, I thought he should have started the retool a number of years ago, and he just keeps on kicking the can down the road. It's disappointing for me.
So I actually agree with Grump on this. So I actually discussed this last Wednesday. I felt like the biggest mistake that the Islanders made was hiring a head coach before Tavares' decision. That for me was the biggest mistake, because when you hire Barry Trotz, what's your objective? Your objective is not to rebuild. Your objective is not to retool. Trotz literally came off of a cup victory with the Caps. He's not going to sign with a team to rebuild or retool. So unfortunately, you were stuck in the mud, if you will, when you hire Trotz and then Tavares leaves. Your core is like mid to okay at best, and then you have limited assets that you could fork over already. So you had realistically no opportunity to win a cup. The Islanders had glimpses of that because they played under shortened seasons in 2020 and 2021, which gave a false sense of confidence to a bulk of this fan base that this team, prior to a couple trades that they made, which I still support, they were not a full 82 game season type of team, considering the fact that all that has to happen is for one key player to go down and the team just folds. You saw it with Pelech in 2020. You saw it when Anders Lee went down in 2021. They just crumble, and no amount of trades were able to fix that. So because the seasons were shortened, though, that maxed the flaws that this team really had. You weren't going to be blessed with facing a horrible Tristan Jarry or Tuukka Rask every time. You weren't going to be blessed with facing an inexperienced Panthers squad and a Todd Reardon coach Capitals every single time. You weren't going to be blessed with that. They weren't. It gave a false sense of confidence to the fan base. And we're here now as a result. We kicked the can multiple times with the veteran core. And I understand why they did it, but we're here now because of that. So for me, with the firing of Trotz, and I know TJ and I have gone back and forth on this, I still love the Romanov trade. The fact that you traded for a young person and not an aged vet, go on, TJ. I know you're going to hate on me for this. I know you are.
Why are you poking the bear, Brandon? Why are you doing that?
Because I wanted to freaking do this with TJ for months now on this trade. Okay, Romanov is not an aged vet, so they traded for a guy who's a decent skater. Isn't being used properly. He's not being used properly. He's playing with players who, yes, he played a cup of coffee with Dobson. He's played with Mayfield, who can't freaking skate anymore either. So, and same thing goes for Dobson. Dobson's not being used properly either. He's not. But you traded for a young player with 2021. You've hired. You fired Trotz, you're transitioning to a new up-tempo system. So combine that with the types of players who've been called up this year, as opposed to the previous 3, where you've had, grizzled vets like Andreoff, and freaking Koivula, players who can't really do anything in the NHL level. They've given shots to young upcoming prospects like potentially Holmstrom. I don't think he's going to be a top 6 player, but they've tried Bolduc, they've tried Raty, they've tried Fasching. It's a new transition that the team is trying to make. So if you feel like you can get an opportunity to transition to your core faster by speeding up the process, because Horvat's a decent skater. He's not slow. He's not as slow as Nelson. He's a better skater than Brock. But if you're able to get good assets for players like Mayfield and like Varlamov, that would support Lou Lamoriello's transition cause that I feel like he's been trying to do the past 8 months.
I agree. I just don't think he's going to do it. There's nothing that he's shown to say we're going to sell. He could have sold last year. He absolutely could have sold last year when it was so obvious we were not making the playoffs. And the only thing I'll say about Romanov is
he sucks.
He's positionally so bad. He's awful positionally.
So let's have that same energy brought to Pelech and Aho as well, because they're not in good position this year either.
Yeah, well,
Romanov,
here's the thing:
Romanov out of position
Kulak
every
and
single
Pelech
game against, pretty much.
Kulak and Pelech haven't been close to what they were in 2019, whatever it was. Whatever year they were tremendous at pairing.
Nope.
I think you've seen them go downhill.
Pelech's speed has not been the same either.
He gets walked around.
Yeah.
But at least he's, like I said, I'm not talking about him just coming back now. He's more positionally strong. Romanov is always out of position. And I did tell TJ, I don't know if you would listen to the show, he gets one more year from me. That's it. I heard he's the greatest. He's the best Montreal defenseman that they had. They're number 1 defenseman when he was traded. That's what you were hearing. He was the best defenseman. Then I watched Montreal play. It's like, well, that's not really saying much because they're defensive.
Yeah, they're Montreal's been up and down, but I still don't have an issue. I mean, the dude was 22 when he got traded for. Pelech didn't have his coming out party until he was almost 25. So there's still time for the guy. You traded for a guy with top 4 potential. He's a competent skater. Yes, are there position issues with him? Sure. But for me, you could say the same thing about 4 of the other defensemen on this team. You could say it to an extent for Dobson. You could say it for Pelech as well. He even before he got his concussion against St. Louis, he was not the same, remotely close to the same Adam Pelech that he was 3 seasons ago. Not even close.
Agreed.
You can make, and the same thing goes for Mayfield. He's been dreadful in his own end because he can't play.
He's been dreadful. Who's been his defense?
He's playing with Roman. I think.
Oh, wait a second.
It's not just him though. He's been dreadful when he was with Aho and Pelech too.
But Pulak,
Mayfield
was better with Aho. He was better with Aho.
Suffers because he's a lump of.
Everybody who plays with Romanov looks bad because they have to cover for him.
He's always in the wrong spot. He leaves huge gaps
he's always
between
out of
him and the
position.
next defenseman. He never marks his man coming back. I've never seen somebody so positionally unaware and defensively irresponsible out there on the ice.
I will.
He's worse than Aho was back when everybody used to shit on Aho. He has played over 200 games in the NHL. That trade looks to be every single day more and more of a stinker.
Okay.
That guy has no place on this.
He's 23 years old, TJ. He's not old. He's 23.
I'm blaming you now, Brandon.
Who cares? He's young. He has time to grow.
I'm blaming you, Brandon. I don't know why you had to bring up Romanov today. It was not necessary.
Like the same
Absolutely not necessary.
This
is going to be an 8-hour podcast the way it's going. I can just tell already. I want to get to some more comments. Rob says, Grump rule speaks for the people. Absolutely.
Kevin Barlow.
Kevin Barlow says, we did not get fleeced. His face looks like we got fleeced, though. And he goes, we got a great scorer. He is. He's
we did.
Tremendous. He's been a tremendous scorer this year.
Brett W.
He says, I was so happy you guys are on.
TJ looks so pale right now. TJ looks so freaking pale right now from this.
He's been really ill for the last week or so.
No, like I'm saying he got paler from this though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This trade has it just destroyed the future of this team. And for people who are like happy or excited about it, I'm like, it's like people cheering on. It's like when they vote, hey, we voted out XYZ out of office, and now it's going to be fantastic. And you see the demise of Rome on the way. You're like, oh, God.
It can be a positive, but I think the message that it sends. I just think the message that it sends. I don't feel like he's going to trade the guys you should trade at the deadline. That's why for me it gets such a poor grade. To me it sends a different message. It sends a message of we're all in. We're going to do everything we can to make the playoffs. I hope I'm wrong, but you know what, Brandon, I never am. So probably the chances of this happening now are going to be slim and none. Slim left town. His name is Lou Lamoriello. Here's another tweet. This is a good one. Save this tweet.
We brought it up earlier in the show. We'll bring it up now. I predicted this back in March of 2022.
Sure you did.
I just went on the record for it then. We're not going ahead and selling any pieces. All we're doing is still adding. I really thought the only thing it could save was just miserable play. But even despite miserable play, Lou still finds a way to add.
Yeah, but they didn't trade those picks for aged veteran players, though. It's not like they traded for Andy Green or Braden Coburn with those picks.
Like they got given up a first in Aatu Raty for Andy Green or Coburn.
No, but I'm saying though the intent behind that trading that pick is you got a need.
We traded for a guy in his prime. Let me ask you this. If we're trading for a guy in his prime, what does that indicate? If we're trading for a guy in his prime, it indicates that we think we could win right now. Because why would you trade for a guy in his prime if you don't think you could win?
Well, unless
seriously, why would you trade for a guy in his prime unless you feel like you could win right now? There's no point to trade for a guy in a prime if you're thinking you're winning 3 or 4 years from now.
So then you should. So then by that logic, you shouldn't extend him then.
I've already told you, if you extend, it's still a loss. This trade is a loss whether you extend, you don't extend. All this is done is further screw up any sort of retool that's a possibility.
Okay.
And you further yourself into the rebuild board.
Does it have the potential to make us more exciting on the ice?
Sure.
Okay, well then there's a win. Let's get. Here's the thing. I'm a little bit disappointed in this tweet that there's only 2 retweets because this is prophetic, and 1 quote retweet and only
23 likes. Yeah,
I can understand why people didn't like it because
it's not a happy thing to think about.
It's truthful. Okay, more comments. Let's get to some more comments.
Okay, Grumpy. We're not going to get through all the comments, obviously.
Well, then you need to highlight the good, funny ones.
Oh, fuck, dude, I'm not going to have time to do that. There's a lot of comments here, Grumpy. We're just trying to get through what we can.
This team isn't winning anything, and Malkin is a joke. Stage 5 says, I just saw that there was a contract retention. Bo Horvat, 25%. Yes, we know that. Gungu says, I think I see smoke coming out of Grumpy's ears. That was possible. I was really angry earlier. So Ariel says, so everyone screams for a top line winger. We get one, and it's a problem.
No, we no longer wanted a top line winger.
We didn't want a top line. There's no top line wingers for you. Next comment.
Okay, hold on. You're not going to address that at all, Grumpy. If you would have said 2 years ago we were looking at a top line winger, it's different.
How many comments do we have so far?
I don't even know, Grumpy. I don't have them counted. There's a lot. Okay. I trade Sorokin to the Kings for prospects. Why not blow it up?
How are they going to re-sign him unless they trade Varlamov or Bailey or Bailey? You can make it happen. Stop.
Yeah, they have 16 million in cap space next offseason.
They have plenty of money. Frank says there's no farm. We are the new Devils where we suck the next 10 years. We're almost there.
Frank roots for the Devils too. Frank has seen what Lou Lamoriello can do when you let the madman go wild. He's seen it firsthand. Rob
says this means more ones are heading out along with any suspect of a prospect we have. Pretty much. We don't have a whole lot of prospects left, so it's tough to make any more deals to acquire players because we have no one in the organization that.
Bye, Bolduc. Bye, Bolduc.
Jason Cameron says, you guys are the best. Thank you, Jason. Google says, okay, let's calm down. What if Ratu goes on to do diddly? We don't know how great he'll be. Think of past Islanders can't miss hopefuls. And Horvat resigns and is the real deal. Grumpy won't squeal.
Okay, Gungun, hold on. Let's talk about this for a second.
Oh, come on.
What makes you think Ratu's not going to do anything?
Okay, you realize when Gungun is commenting, it's more of something in a hilarious moment. I think he wanted to go,
yeah,
Horvat resigns and is the real deal. Grumpy won't squeal. Get it? That's what he does. Okay,
Grumpy.
Brian says, we're going to suck for the next decade. White says, if we don't make the playoffs, we'll keep our first-round pick protected top 12.
Unless we finish 14 to 6, unless we finish 14 and 15.
That's where we're not coming in the bottom 12.
No. Gungun Grumpy.
In other words, at least we have Horvat is the real deal already, but he's not re-signed. Michael T says maybe Lou is trying to retool on the fly and he's not done. Despise the trade, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I despise the trade.
It depends on what comes after. If nothing comes after, then no, it's not.
D-Cut says, bring up my call when you guys ask what scares us the most about the season. D-Cut says, my fear is Lou is again trading away a first-round draft pick.
It's been my fear.
We've all said that. We actually said that at the beginning of the year. What's the most thing you're afraid of? Lou Lamoriello trading away a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
Declan says, I'm upset about Ratu, but can't get without giving. The first-round draft pick is what I'm upset about. Alon A says, I told you guys weeks ago, Lou had to be fired as soon as possible. Couldn't wait till the season's end. 80-year-olds don't care about 2024 and beyond. We won't be relevant until Lou croaks. Did TJ write this comment? I don't know. But other people feel the same way.
Right. I don't think he'll be here next year. I don't think he will.
So either. But see, you can't. To me,
this is my
have him making decisions. Then
why would a guy who's not going to be here next year care about the future of the team?
That's an ownership issue. If he's not going to be here next year, you cannot let him make decisions like this for the organization.
He is going to give up more draft capital on every single prospect we have for more fucking rentals. That's what this madman's going to do. And you guys, everybody's over here saying, hey, we've got a score. Everything's going to be right as rain. You're going to be ruining the day you said that.
Brian J. says, I called it. He would trade another first. I should be on the show or an NHL analyst. Explosive Diarrhea says, I was literally watching your podcast yesterday talking about hoping Lou doesn't make a win now move after all these last wins. Yeah. That's right. First time from Explosive Diarrhea. Thank you very much.
Frank K said I feared it too. Andre M.
Ratu is not fast enough to be a first line center.
God almighty, you talk about a knee-jerk action. I think he'll be a second line guy, but still. D-cut.
Might as well rehire Trotz, demote Lame, and call Rack JMC.
Mario Grumpy.
He makes the same mistake again. Trade away a first-round pick for a player they could have gotten for free.
No way. The Islanders were not going to be able to get him if he was a UFA. No way.
What makes you think we're going to be able to get him now then?
Because you have to, Grump has actually addressed this too, and I agree with him.
That crew.
Yes, you have to literally take players by trading for them and getting them to absorb the culture early on before signing. Exactly. The Islanders, they don't attract free agents from the outside. You have to literally trade them here.
You have to re-educate them like Chairman Mao used to do.
Yes. That's a stat. It's sad.
Let's relocate the franchise. That's it.
No, don't relocate it. Just know what you're not good at it and be good in other areas.
They probably got a house being built in the cul-de-sac for him right now.
Probably.
Oh no, we already read that one. Next comment. Brian J says, We called it. They did it again for a 31-year-old. He's 27.
27.
Yeah, he's
This doesn't
27.
make us a contender. He might as well be 31. What's the difference, right? Don't let
Yeah.
a few years get in your way. Okay.
Conditional
Anthony
first
P
round.
says conditional first round. He is staying.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Nothing
Hope
to do
so.
with it. A rental for a rental? This is Ryan Smith 2.0. It should be. Do we
No.
have a chance to win a cup? Yes, like a coffee cup. Like sometimes you go to the mall, you answer a question, they give away cups, stuff like that. Yes, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just not
Stanley
the Stanley Cup. Just not the Stanley Cup. Who says Horvat isn't Ryan Smith?
Good point. Who knows?
Well,
We'll
we don't-
see.
We don't know. Here's the thing. The thing is, Ryan Smith wanted to go back to Edmonton, where I don't think Bo Horvat wants to go back to Vancouver.
No, I don't think anybody's going to want to go to Vancouver.
You'd be shocked.
Goon says, Grumpy, calm down. Barzell signed here long term. Why wouldn't Horvat? Well, because he doesn't have a girlfriend who lives on Long Island.
Correct.
That's why Matt Barzell stayed.
Matt Barzell's got a nice Jewish gal.
Nice Jewish girl that
Uh-huh.
he's going to be marrying, and
Did not want to
so
leave.
very, very comfortable. So that's people come here for comfort. Usually, people go to Florida to retire, but NHL players, old NHL players, they go to Long Island.
There it is. Frank.
Oh, this is a first one for him. The miracle prayer. I like it. You're wrong. All cried for a scorer, and we have one. So what's the problem? Dumb answer. What you have given up for Bo, give me your choice.
Oh, what would you have traded to get him if he was available?
I would have. I had no problem with Beauvillier and Raty if you had to, but not the first round pick. I was not trading a first round pick this year.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
This
Nothing.
past their peak.
They could have given it to you for free, and TJ's not taking it. Doesn't matter.
I would not have added to this team at all. This team is past their peak. Sell, retool. Sell, retool. Now we're buying again, which is going to make the fall even harder. We're going to be lying on the ground, rolling, trying to get up to our feet. It's like now, all of a sudden, we've added another 50 years onto our age, and our bones are brittle. It's going to take us forever to stand back up again. It's just a waste.
A little dramatic. Next comment, please. Also, I saw this on Reddit, but I also heard that whilst a rumor, Bo Horvat is going to sign 7 years, 8.5. Okay, we addressed that already.
Not happening.
Enjoy Horvat, boys. Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan. We're going to need a lot of helpful, kind words.
Andrew C says, I was waiting for you to come on. Think that upsets me as a first rounder in Raty. All right, if you had to give up Raty, he's got to be re-signed. He's got to be. If he doesn't re-sign, it's an epic fail.
Oh, shit. I forgot. We don't even have the third round pick from this year. We already traded that away to get rid of Ladd. So maybe it'll be the second. We've already lost the third. So it'll be Samuel Bolduc and a second for a defenseman. So we'll be without a first, second, and a third round pick without our top two prospects.
No reason to tune into the draft this year.
Such a stupid contract.
Yeah.
Literally a buyout freaking proof deal. And it took a freaking miracle to get rid of that crap. So stupid.
Richardson Islands might have a deal in place.
I haven't heard anything like that.
Where do we stack against contenders now? Same spot.
Slightly above average.
We could be, instead of being 11th in the conference, maybe we can be 8th.
Dylan Kaiser, one of the founders of the hockey podcast,
and he's a Vancouver guy. He does the Vancouver podcast.
Follows the Vancouver Canucks religiously. I'm going to trust what he says on this. Horvat's going to test the market. I'm sure of it. Hate to say it, signing Horvat based on last year's performance can screw you over for a long time.
Now Dylan is on my shit list because you just gave more fuel to the angry TJ fire today.
You gave more fuel to the truth. You gave more fuel to the truth.
Okay.
Don't listen to the lies and the freaking sugarcoat and shit. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut because it's honest and it's true.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
For me, if I'm Bo Horvat, think about the guys that Lou has re-signed, all got overpriced deals for really the talent that they were. And I just think, for me, if I'm him, I'm testing free agency. He's the number one guy on the free agent market this year. I mean, right? I mean, Art, one or two. Certainly, he's one of the top guys. It makes no sense for him not to test the market. Let me just put it that way.
He's going to get paid.
Deservedly so. I don't say I think he's better than Ryan O'Reilly. in the fact
yes.
in the fact that the total package of what he brings to the table. I've always liked him.
And
Okay.
he's younger too.
Yes.
So that adds to it.
As a Canucks fan, what do we expect with Aatu Raty? That's a guy who could be a number 2 center. That's a guy who looks like he is. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Could be.
2C, 3C.
Yeah, he's a guy who I think he's acclimated to the North American style of hockey, the North American style of ice within not even a year. He's a guy who is very aggressive on a forecheck. He's aggressive on the back check. He's got an endless motor. He's got a good shot. He's got great hockey IQ. And he's, again, like you talk about a guy who's smart. He's not a Josh Bailey smart, but he's actually he's aware out there on the ice.
Dylan, call me. I'll tell you. TJ's angry now, so he's probably overvaluing Raty because he didn't want to move him. But I'll tell you the truth. Don't worry.
Need the tank to keep the first pick. Yeah, not happening. There you go, Grumpy.
Drew says, I know when we were in the Twitter spaces earlier that Brandon and Daniel Friedman seem a little more optimistic on the deal. I'm more so indifferent. I don't like giving up Raty, though.
Yeah, again, like I think most people are indifferent. Some people are happy. Some people are unbelievably upset. I'm in the unbelievably upset pool, so no hiding that.
Okay. Really? We couldn't tell.
No.
Google says, I think you have to wait until after the season to give this trade a true grade. If Horvat helps turn the Islanders' stink season around, elevates the team and re-signs, it's a high grade.
You can't just do it based off of that, though. You have to see what other moves come with that, though.
If you do nothing else, it's not a great move.
Nope.
Because your team is still aging. And like I said, that's where I think it's the mindset. That's the thing. It's like, what's the team mindset? Who is worse, the Jets or the Islanders?
Jets.
Maybe he means Winnipeg Jets, but but I think the New York Jets, if they get a quarterback, are on the upswing.
I think the Jets have the quicker potential to compete for a Super Bowl than the Islanders do.
Wow. Well, because the Islanders play in the NHL, so I don't think they're contending for Super Bowl anytime soon.
Uh-huh.
And the Jets don't draft quarterbacks properly either. So
well, they ruin them whenever they do draft them.
Yep.
I will say TJ sounded a whole lot worse on the spaces than now. I was about to say, Grumpy. I was about to say this is more of a toned down version.
You're toned down?
Yeah. TJ was dark earlier. He was dark.
I'm telling you, it's bad. This is not good. It's not good. Mario there, Grumpy.
To be fair, Raty was a 50-50 split with the scouts.
Yes, he was.
So some saw him as a top 6 forward. Others saw him as a bottom 6. The biggest issue was his skating, which needed to improve. I think he's improved his skating
already. Yep.
Here's the thing. I think he was our top prospect. That's what I'll say about him. Grumpy, you're too much. I'm a Mets, Jets, Islanders fan, so I know pain. Yeah. I know.
Glad. Mets are on the upswing, though. No reason to be upset right now about them.
The Mets
could have had a better offseason.
Subpar too.
Could have had a better offseason.
Just a bad offseason by them.
Cushite says, glad Beauvillier's gone. Shouldn't have given something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Mets, Jets, Islanders equals the ultimate fart trifecta.
Yep. Like the deal, except losing Raty.
The first round draft pick is the one that does it for me. Okay, here we Rob G says, hey fellas, what do you think of the trade? Wow, can't believe it. Woo woo woo. So Rob G, he's the ultimate Islander fan. I knew he'd be positive, and he is. Brian J says, Isles got fleeced. Any dumb Islander fan disagree? They don't know the game.
Oh gosh.
I don't think Vancouver got what they should have gotten for that trade, though. Like, Vancouver needs defensive prospects, and I don't know if they're going to get one in the first round if they keep the Islanders pick. Like, they have nobody on their team who could play defense. Nobody.
Yeah, they were ways away, though.
Completely. Everyone, I think, is up for sale. They might end up trading Pedersen if this shit keeps up. Like, they're horrible.
Oh, Massey. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's Jim Rutherford. He'll trade anybody. They're a shit show.
Andrew Levy says, time to get the pitchforks out. Fire Lou now. Let the dark ages begin. I'm so embarrassed to be an Islander fan. He used to have a face on his picture. Now it's just blank. I understand.
What, the paper bag thing didn't work?
Yeah, that's right. He just paper bags, I guess, don't work on there. You just black out your face or whatever you do.
It's time to bring the bags back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's in-house. You do that in-house.
Yeah.
D-Cut says 80-year-olds don't rebuild. We all saw this a mile away.
Yep.
Brian J said, "Oh, okay, let's go down."
Braids back on, boys, says Patrick H. There it is, sure.
TJ, you look healthier and sound better tonight. Did the flossing help?
Yeah, helped a lot. Dylan Kaiser Crump.
As a Canucks fan, Horvat is great, but he's having a bit of a fluke year. He's a goal-scoring center, not a playmaker, but that's fine.
He doesn't have to be. That's not his job.
Not for us. He doesn't necessarily make the players around him better. If you sign him for $7 million plus, good luck. Now, see, that's a worrisome comment.
This is a guy who watches them on a game in, game out basis.
He's a Canuck guy.
He does have a 20% shooting percentage, which is, I believe, 3% above his career average. So I don't think Horvat's going to score 50 goals every year. But if you're getting more offensive opportunities playing with Barzal 5-on-5, then that could offset the shooting percentage decline. It's
significantly higher than anything he's had in the past. When you look at his, I'll try to show this here. God damn it. Okay, give me a I'm at to reset some stuff.
That's fine. Take your time. Jason says, preach it, TJ. Mario says, Lamoriello only cares for his legacy, and that legacy means winning that fourth cup. Comes hell or high water. He all but destroyed the Devils. Now he's doing it to the Islanders. He's never winning a fourth Stanley Cup. It's not happening. Tom White says Ratu's a wild card, still improving in the league. D-Cut says TJ needs a haircut. TJ Lamoriello is pulling a Pajot 2.0. See, I don't agree with that. Drew says Vancouver's blowing it up. They're in full rebuild on top of another rebuild. They're a mess. True.
They're horrific. They are absolutely horrific. I think the worst trade that they probably made, which probably prevented them from keeping Horvat, was when they took back Ekman Larson's deal from the Coyotes.
That was Ekman Larson and
Connor Garland. They gave up a ninth overall pick and then a second, and then they moved up Louis Eriksson, who had less term.
Yeah.
And AAV'd an OEL. It was a horrible trade.
Yeah. I don't know how many years he's under contract to, but that was not a
four,
good deal.
4 more years for OEL.
Terrible. Tim J says we gave up what every team would have wanted from us. No team wants any of our driftwood like Palmieri, Bailey, or Nelson, etc. Okay. Nelson's not driftwood.
No.
Bailey is worse than driftwood.
Yeah.
Palmieri. I just don't think he's got. If somebody offered me a second-round pick for Palmieri, I'd move him.
Yeah, because there's more money in your pocket.
Yes. Explosive Diarrhea says Steve and Alex Cohen were at the Islanders game Friday. Brian J says, "Oh no, we suck again."
Hey, Grumpy, I lost when I pulled out. I lost about every single comment.
That's okay. I'll hit the comments. I'll just scroll down. You can talk with Brandon. I'm just going to chirp in with comments. How about that?
Well, I want to show you this because we talked about Horvat. We're not going to get through obviously all the comments. His shooting percentage, just to pop this up on screen, Grump.
Okay.
Shooting right now 21. Shooting at 21.7%. He is a career 14% shooter.
Yeah. That's like Brock Nelson last year, right?
Yeah.
Having a career season is what it is. And we're going to sign a guy, if we do, to a huge contract based off of what his career number or a career season numbers have been.
Counterpoint, though, playing with Barzal will get him more offensive opportunities to shoot more.
Yeah.
Who did he play along with at Vancouver? Vancouver didn't have any slouches on the forward group.
Okay, are any of them at Barzal, though?
Did he play sometimes any power play time with Elias Pettersson?
I'm talking about 5-on-5, though. 5-on-5, he either played with Mikheyev this year, and he played
damn good.
Yeah, he wasn't the same this past 15 games. I know he had ACL surgery a couple days ago, so they had to shut him down. But Connor Garland hasn't been consistent for them either, and those were his wingers for majority of the season. He played occasionally with Mikheyev, most of the time with Miller, and most of the time with Connor Garland. None of those three compare right now to how Matt Barzal plays hockey.
JT Miller is no slouch. You know what I mean? Like
Hey, he's quite the slouch.
yeah, yeah, they're not going to get me to say too much.
Rob G says, "Wow, you're having a nervous breakdown about it, TJ. Come on, it's a good thing for us right now." Okay, there you go. Joseph C says, "Can't worry about the long term when you're 80 years old and won't be here in 2 years." Gungu says, "Grumpy, was that a JFK impersonation I just heard?" It was a bad Lou Lamoriello impersonation. I think I went from every type of accent that I could think of. It was just not good. Richard L says, "Team needed a spark, 200-foot player. Great on the power play. Let's see what happens. Barzy and Bo could be great. I love the two of them together. If the piece of shit would have just signed Gaudreau in the offseason, I thought we have the makings of a phenomenal first line."
Yeah, I still don't get why he chose Columbus.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean, the Devils were literally right there. He was born around the same area. I get his wife gets to work at a kick-ass children's hospital, but I mean, come on, it made no sense for
work.
She wouldn't have had to work at that point. Like the Devils, I did not think he was coming to the Islanders, but the Devils had the space to get him.
Yep.
They had the room.
Think about what he would have done for them.
Oh my God.
Patrick H says, "Diseased Bugs Bunny in the house." John A hates the trade. Cushite Revenge says, "Terrible asset management by Lou. I've been a Lou supporter since he became the Islanders GM, but no longer. Ledecky better wake up. Fire Lou now."
I mean, Ledecky's not going to do anything.
No,
he's the mouthpiece. He doesn't do anything.
He's the mascot.
Mr. Jampson says, Mr. Jampson says, "I feel much better about playing the Bruins in the first round after getting Horvat. Let's go."
Nah.
We have other people agreeing to that.
I would not want to play Boston. I know they've lost 2 in a row for the first time this season, but
3 in a row.
Oh, they lost. They lost to
Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Made it 3 in a row.
I guess they won't catch Detroit's record after all.
Nope. People are asking about what the lines would be for Horvat, TJ. I don't know if you want. Is there a way for me to highlight comments, TJ?
No, there's not.
You suck. Well,
we can just go down to where it starts for me, which is like 10:13 your time. Sorry.
Okay, I'm at right now. I'm
lost like 2 hours worth of comments.
I'm at 8:20. I'm at 8:20. So just like you know.
We're 2 hours and 30 minutes in.
We're not going to get all the comments in, obviously, but I did want to. I'm just going to look for funny ones then. But if you all want to talk about the lines, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just looking, just to let people know who don't hear us have obviously read your comment today. It's not because we didn't want to, but there's a lot of comments.
And we appreciate all the engagement.
I'm just going to try to look at comments that entertain me, to be honest with you. Sorry, it's not like TJ.
And we appreciate all the comments and all the input. We will read them afterwards. Grump and I usually do that if we don't get to everything during the show. And trust me, there's a lot that crack us up after the fact. And
here's one. Tom White says, "Does Grumpy sideline as a motivational speaker?" Yes,
do you, Grump?
Yes.
So, I mean, like, it does give you freedom and flexibility. If you want to put Barzal at wing, you can do that. I mean, like, did that some of that? I think this most recent game that put Barzal at wing, and this is what the Horvat trade allows you to do. I think it helps you for the now, but I just think it, as I've made my position clear. But I think, like, it does allow Barzal to play wing and allows Horvat to be more of the center position there to win faceoffs. People always complain, Barzal can't win the faceoff. Well, here you go. You no longer have that complaint because Barzal can be kicked to the wing.
Anthony R says, "What a horrible, horrible deal. What does this make? 5 years without a first rounder? I hate him. I truly despise him." I think he's talking about Lou Lamoriello.
Maybe.
Wallstrom is gone right now, maybe for the season.
Do we even know specifically how long he's out for? I know it's said indefinitely, but
I'm not sure. I wonder if he
has they said lower body for what it's worth.
Yeah, I don't know how long. He's been out for like months, though, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Tim J says they couldn't give Holmstrom instead of Raty, maybe for an extra roll of hockey tape?
Because Holmstrom has zero value. Only if Only if Phil's Fax was the guy hyping up Holmstrom. We could have traded Holmstrom away instead of Raty. Damn it. If they would have been reading the tweets about the Swedish wall or the Sweden wall, we wouldn't have lost Raty, Grumpy. We would have lost Holmstrom, and that would have made everything right in the universe.
No, TJ, you're actually thinking this wrong. If Phil's Fax was Vancouver's GM, then Holmstrom would have went to Vancouver.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or even if they were reading Phil's tweets.
Anthony Rizzi is really angry with this deal. He says,
Understandable.
He says, I hope Horvat doesn't resign with us. I want management to all look like assholes.
Oh, so he just wants to watch the world burn. Okay.
He's angry.
I understand.
Brian John also angry. I wouldn't pay a dime to go to the game. Not a dime. A little disappointing.
I don't blame you.
Michael Bechet says, really, this isn't what's going to fix the team. Bad trade. Not just bad, not bad trade. B cubed, bad cube trade. You gave away a first and Raty. This is a moron. Lou better get a first out of Varley or Nelson.
They're not
idiotic,
trading
short-sighted idiot.
God.
People are angry.
Yeah. You've seen what we put out there on the ice. When we play good teams, we lose. When we play bad teams, sometimes we still lose. It's not a team that says, yeah, we're competing. We're going 7 against the Hurricanes, or 7 against the Bruins, or 7 against Toronto, or 7 against the Lightning. None of that shit's happening.
Anthony R says, this is the way. They win 2 games in a row, and that was our downfall. The organization is a joke.
Yeah, damn it. If we would have just kept losing those games, there's no way we would have made that trade. Damn it.
Scott Levy says, never seen TJ this pissed. It's great. It's not good. Me having to be the voice of reason.
Really? I've seen TJ angrier than this before.
Yeah,
I've seen him angrier than this before too.
Yeah,
not in
I
this
remember
environment.
My highlights were the this year's draft and then the podcast after that. I cherish it. I absolutely cherish it.
Hey,
yep.
And my take looks right every single time. Just my take on this was going to look right every.
No. It wasn't even just that. It was the fact that you didn't think that the Islanders had to give up a first to get him because Montreal's endgame was to get Kirby Dach, so they had to get a pick in the top 15 to make that work.
And I said we could. What did I say to? We could have gone ahead and we could have made a move for Kirby Dach. Possibly, we could have made a move for. What did DeBrincat go for this year?
He went for a 7th overall, and I believe the 39th overall, and I think there was one more pick in there.
I think a 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
Explosive Diarrhea says, Lou is TJ. I want you to listen to this. Both of you listen to this.
Okay, I'm
Lou
listening.
is building a contender, guys. Give him time. This is the first
time.
He's freaking 80. He's on borrowed time as it is. Sorry. TJ's on fire. Oh.
That's funny. That's funny.
So have you all thought about line combinations or anything like that?
Yeah, Grumpy, you get to the. Yeah, I do get a lot of this. Lou Lamoriello's an absolute joke. I'm seeing a lot of those here. I wonder if TJ thinks that Sonic is not a bad franchise anymore. No, I don't even know that Sonic. I'm going to read through some comments on the Grumpy. If you want to, here's the thing. If you want to continue reading through those comments and just pop them up as you see good ones, or read.
I don't know how to pop them up.
Or you can read them as you see good ones, and I'll just start popping these ones up and reading them. So that's your task. You'll be multitasking. Tom White says here, it's called growing pains. Romo is young. He looks bad because Romanoff's young because Romanoff or because Mayfield is bad. No, he's not.
In this system, Mayfield does look bad.
No.
I want to be fair. I'm saying under the previous years under Trotz, he did not look this bad. But since Lane Lambert is coaching more of a modern up-tempo system, Mayfield's lack of skating is getting exposed as a result. I'm not excusing Romanoff, but I'm just talking about Mayfield specifically in this regard.
So after Brandon makes another excuse for Romanoff, we'll get to this next comment.
I didn't defend him on that occasion. I was just talking about Mayfield.
You can't complain about having young players. You know, you can't complain about not having young players and then complain about them learning to play in a league. It doesn't happen overnight.
That's not true, Tom. We can complain about everything here.
Yeah.
Andre M says, are you sure He's not moving Mayfield or Varlamov. I don't think he's going to move anybody. I just don't get that feeling. I'd love for him to, but I don't think he will. Freedom Fun Adventure says getting Horvat is a plus if re-signed, and Lou knows what the contract demand is. I don't think he does.
Didn't even speak with the agent. I don't know when okay. Here's the thing. Who am I going to trust? A random Reddit post or a guy who works for TSN and works for, and is a correspondent for the NHL?
I used to work with athletes on contracts. He will be signed. I don't know how that correlation works. What is upsetting is not waiting until free agency and desperation.
I don't know who that is, Grumpy, who made that comment, but
that was Freedom Fun Adventure. You didn't let me finish reading the comment before you vomited into the microphone yet again today.
He's Bo Horvat's. He's the burner account for Bo Horvat's agent.
Maybe that's the case. I didn't know how he made the correlation to working with players with contracts and knowing that he's going to resign. I don't know. Maybe, but like I said, I've never worked with player contracts, so that's why I don't know. Please explain. Michael T says, hopefully there's a plan to get back in the first round and pick somehow in the future. I don't know, though.
I mean, we'll see what happens. If you get a first for Mayfield or Varlamov as an offer, I don't see why you deny that. If you know you're not contending, and if your aim is to keep Horvat long term, and if that offer comes your way for Mayfield or Varlamov, you got to pounce on it. Bottom line.
Another one. If they can't re-sign him before, Tom White says, if they can't re-sign him before the deadline, Lou will trade him for picks and prospects.
He's not going to do that.
I don't know. There's no way he's doing that. Yeah.
No way.
Expect not to be signed before the deadline and us to hold on to him.
Eddie Smith just had one horrible. That's it. He didn't need to go into some big, long, drawn-out attack like TJ did. He just voices a bit horrible. Very, very distinct.
Adam P. said, didn't Bo say he expected to finish his career with the Canucks?
Well, maybe he will. Maybe he'll sign there again. Who knows? Just not after, maybe for a one-day contract.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Thomas B. says here, gentlemen, ownership has a huge nut to pay off, and they want to fill seats. Lou isn't the only member of this group that wants no rebuild. Okay, Thomas, when I hear that, when they're repaying, it's not like they repay their loan in 2 years or 3 years. It's a long-term process. So not having seats, let's say if you have fans in the seats for the first 3 or 4 years, but then have no fans in the seats for the next 6. That's still only 3 years you have fans in your seats over 10-year on a decade time period. You're paying off that loan over a long time period. You would rather have the most fans in your seats over a decade than 1 or 2 years at the front and none on the back.
Tony Chi says, hot damn. I think we set a record for the show for how many people are watching.
I think we did too.
I like that.
D-Cut says, trade Wallstrom for Tarasenko. Trade Dobson too. Get rid of the ballerina too, D-Cut. I'm all on board. Just blow it up.
I don't think Tarasenko's getting traded here.
Neither.
I think he's going to play across town in Broadway.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
They have the extra first rounder that they got from Dallas, so they can do it.
Oh God. John A says, short-sighted thinking. This team is not good enough, even with Bo. Mortgaged another pick, and the farm system's not good. If the team were one player away, I'd feel differently, but they're clearly not.
Jeff D says, well, Lou's in his 80s. He doesn't care about the Islanders' future. Yep, true. Frank K said, I don't root for the Devils. I'm sorry to mischaracterize. He says, I love seeing their games there. Okay.
They are fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, and the Prudential Center is actually a really nice arena to go to as well. It's cool.
And Matthew S said, honestly, I should have listened to you guys before last year. I wasn't last to believe you guys, but certainly wasn't one of the early ones.
They all come around to my way of thinking eventually. Goon says, regarding this controversial deal, if the Islanders could have kept Raty, but the Canucks demanded part of the deal is that Grumpy relocate to Vancouver, would Grumpy have okayed it? I think the warden would have said, fine, let's get him across country and up north. We can absolutely make that work.
We can make the accommodation good.
Absolutely.
Brian NY says here, doom and gloom later. So don't worry about the doom and gloom. We'll just kick that down the road. Okay, fair enough.
Very good. Joseph C said that's the problem with opening a new arena. It forces teams to compete, so the new building isn't empty. Jason Cameron says Lou sucks.
He also says after death, Lou's ghost will haunt this team forever. Oh God. Oh man.
Doug R asked, why would he want to resign with this shit show?
Adam P.
I don't think our show is shit. I think it's entertaining. He can come on anytime. Bo, I love you, baby. I wanted you on the team. I just know it's going to be short-lived. I see it worries me when Dylan says he's absolutely testing free agency. That's concerning to me.
He's not going to be wrong on something like that. Adam P says here, I've been calling this crap longer than most of the Johnny come lately negative folk. I'm the Pied Piper of grumpy and keeping picks.
Absolutely. Freedom Fun Adventure says team must retool. Not okay to not trade UFAs in hopes of winning cups. Mismanagement and failure to maximize assets. Horvat will help in many ways. Biggest issue is forwards and not coming back to help the D.
Yes.
You got a lot of you got a lot of those guys. We don't seem to move any of them out. Just saying.
Jeff B said, why would he resign with the Islanders? Good question. And NP also says, more stuff I've been saying. You guys must be copying me. 100% of your points I've said on my own. No unrestricted free agents are willing or willingly only after being traded do they sign. I swear I see what you guys do. This is killing me.
It's true. They don't attract them unless you trade them early on.
That's right. Here's the thing, Adam. You have not been listening to our show long enough. We've been talking about this for years. Shay says, I'm glad I didn't buy a Aatu jersey yet. I'll get his Vancouver jersey, though.
There it is. Time to get the Vancouver jersey. Raytube says here, shades of Linden for Bertuzzi and McCabe and Rutu.
Not even close. Not even close. That was horrible.
Yeah, Linden. How long did Linden last? 4 months?
Yeah, 4 months, and then they got less than 100 games when they traded eventually to get Jason Weimer. When they traded Linden for a prospect, and then they traded that prospect for Jason Weimer, who played for a cup of coffee. And then the other side of Vancouver's trade tree got them one of the Sedin twins, got them Luongo back from Florida, then Jacob Markstrom. It was a horrible trade by Milbury. Horrible.
Very bad.
Probably his worst trade tree ever in Islanders history.
I'll agree. E. Major says, as a Nucks fan, the protection for the pick sucks for us. What are we getting in Beauvillier?
Not much.
He's like Brock Besser needs a change of scenery for you guys. Anthony Beauvillier need a change of scenery from the Islanders. He's, I would say, on a really good team, he's a third-line winger.
Yep.
He's a good skater. He's always had a good attitude. I think you just need to change scenery, which could be beneficial to you. And he's able to score big goals in big moments.
D-Cut saying, TJ skipping the terrific comments from the great members of Isles Misery Rated R, but reading his little buddy's comments. Oh, there it is.
Unbelievable.
I never understand that stuff. Give the player the most money, and 99.99999% of the time they will come, says Joseph C.
Tony Cheese says, I can't wait 10 years from now for the ESPN 30 for 30. Lou's last chance. How one GM set back a franchise 10 years.
Say that again, Grumpy.
I can't wait 10 years from now for the ESPN 30 for 30. Lou's last chance. How one GM set back a franchise 10 years.
Whose comment? Who read that? Who wrote that comment?
Tony Cheese.
I was going to say, it sounds like a Tony Cheese comment. Okay, guys.
It's funny. In the early ages of, well, certainly the early time of the internet, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. When we traded Luongo, I typed in some Islander site, and some glad hand kept on deleting my post every time I'm like, oh shit, I got to retype it instead of just copying and slamming it up there. But it's like that was the first thing of trying to silence the grumpy old man. but I was right and he was wrong. So
Many years ago, Grumpy, and this is our 200th episode. Isn't it
200
so great that
Woo!
the 200th episode, a show started on the negativity of the Islanders' current outlook? I mean, I would say we were more positive under Doug Waite when we had just left, when Doug Waite had just left, and we were like, well, this is, hey, or even after the draft, we still had some positivity, and it's just gone further and further downhill.
2 quick comments. John O'Sullivan says, if you don't like it, go be a Rangers fan.
Shit, if I was a Rangers fan, I'd have more to cheer about in the future.
Oh, watch out. Some people think you're a Rangers fan already.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a
CJ,
Ranger fan. I just I just talk about the Islanders for like 5 hours a week, every week, just for shits and giggles.
5.
6 or 7. You're right. I'm sorry.
CJ, the Red Loop and Power Ranger says, I wouldn't have traded Ratu for Horvat. I would have traded for Timo Meier, though.
Okay.
I think this pretty much eliminates Timo Meier as an Islander trade possibility.
Maybe we could trade next year's first or second this year and next year's second for Meier.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be something?
Don't they limit how many years? No, that's the NFL. You can only trade up like
the NHL too. You can't trade more than 3 years out. Isles Goal says a word is Barzal broke up with his girlfriend, heard it from a credible source.
He really regrets the contract.
Oh, God, he wants to be traded. He's requested a trade. Mikey Bomber says, great trade for the Islanders.
Andre M says, Grump, no way Lou makes a deal without assurances he signs. Lou is not that dumb. I disagree. I think he is that dumb. You know what? Only time will tell, Andre M. We're going to find out.
Thomas Amadeo says, I think Horvat signing here might create the Brady effect with Barzal, Nelson, and Sorokin. Players are going to want to come.
No. I'll just answer that as short, sweet no.
Hey, this is it. He's like the people's champ, Grumpy. That's how good Bo Horvat is.
Patrick H says he's already signed, done deal, handshake deal. You realize that handshake deals are not real deals, right?
No.
I'm just gonna say not.
Okay, hold on. He's not even talked with the agent yet.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He might have by now. They just haven't reported it yet. I mean, I'm sure they probably said something, some dialogue. You know, I don't think they haven't said anything by now.
The guy who works for NHL Network, who's a correspondent for NHL Network, said
No. I'm saying like over the past like 30 minutes, though. I don't think anything has been leaked per se.
Okay. If you didn't talk about that before getting traded, you're not talking about that now.
Well, Vancouver wouldn't let any team talk to Horvat. They wouldn't let anybody talk to them about JT Miller last offseason either. They just didn't want to. They didn't want to lose any leverage.
Just in case, for those who want Timo Meier, CJ, the Red Loop and Power Ranger, does have a trade option here.
Okay, here you go. I'm ready to listen.
We should buy out Bailey when we can.
Please do.
Then do a package deal like Bolduc, DeFore, Wallstrom, 2024 first and a 2023 second for Timo Meier.
This is like Lou Lamoriello at the helm. With those type of
what do I got? What youngsters can I throw in the dumpster? Anything, whatever you want. Draft picks, take them. They're all young guys anyway.
At this point, though, it's just kind of like just blow the team up, blow the franchise in half. Just, you know what? Just keep doubling down, I guess, because we've already submitted to that. You know, whatever.
There's a lot of people here though are saying the extension is done. I don't know how they know. Joe Francis said extension is done. I don't know how he knows. I don't know.
Because somebody on Reddit said it, so everybody's like, the extension's done. They're all over the place now, Grumpy.
Mr. Jamson says, can't compare Lou and Garth. Come on, stop panicking, people.
Okay, if he does not sign back,
Garth Snow won just about all of his trades.
If he doesn't sign back, Lou Lamoriello is a worse general manager than Garth Snow for his time here. Absolutely. Look at the trades. Devon Taves for freaking 2 second-round picks. Like you look at the trades, how much he's given up to get players as well, doubling down like this. He could definitely have a worse legacy than Garth Snow. Is what it is, though. The truth, TJ, just like your shitty analysis on NFL quarterback. Well, I'd have to disagree with that. I will strongly disagree with that, Drew. Strongly disagree.
Patrick H says Damn it, Grumpy. We are a playoff team. Okay.
SP says here, it makes 0 sense from his perspective to sign with us. Sure.
At least now it does. I mean, if you're a UFA and you're the top guy in the market, are you really going to, all right, I'm somewhere for 4 months, I'm just going to resign there willy-nilly, or are you going to test the market? Your agent should be doing the job and saying, hey, let's test the market. I know you love living in the cul-de-sac. They got your own little bungalow there, but come on. Don't be. Let's look at other places.
Hey,
there are better places than Long Island to live. Believe me.
So, what's the most do you think that Horvat would get if he was a UFA?
10 million.
I don't think he'd get 10.
8 figures.
I don't think he'd get 10. I think he could get.
If he puts up 50 goals.
He's not going to score 50 goals. He plays for us.
He's now playing alongside Matt Barzal.
Yeah,
I don't think he gets 8 figures. So
if he has 50 goals, I'd say he gets 9.5. I think he get 9.
He can get 9.
I think he
get
can
9.
get 9, without a doubt.
I don't know. The he's having the best year of his career, right? It's not like you were saying, hey, you're getting Panera money or Austin Matthews money or anything like that. I don't know. Man. If he got a $10 million contract, that would put him tied for 12th highest paid contract in the NHL, or tied for 12th highest paid contract in the NHL.
I don't think he's getting 10.
He'd be tied with Anze Kopitar, Eichel, and Barkov as well.
Would you not say? I mean, you'd have to say that Gaudreau is really worth more than him, though. I would think Gaudreau is worth more than him, production-wise.
Okay, Gaudreau was offered $11.5 million, but turned it down. So he was offered more money, but chose somewhere else to take less.
He was also offered $11 million in Calgary, where the taxes are higher.
The taxes are high here too.
Yes, but it's worse there though.
I have no idea what the state tax, the province tax looks like there, but
it's horrible.
I think you're going to be in a spot. Dylan said he's testing free agency. He's going to test free agency. There's no doubt in my mind.
Goon says Lou's going to keep wheeling and dealing before the trade deadline. How much more hostility will TJ and Grumpy embrace? I think TJ. I think the sky's the limit for TJ. Actually,
TJ might croak on camera if this keeps up.
He could.
Yeah.
You're going to see explosion like that little guy from Inside Out, the little red one. And he hits the angry button as far forward as he can. That would be like me. Millennial meltdowns, whatever you want to call them, they're inbound.
Pat Hanahan says, false Grump. And SP said, Pat, I'm hoping that you're being sarcastic.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Grumpy, we're about 3 hours in. Are there any other specific comments that you're liking there, my friend?
Well, like I said, I'm only at 8:38. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to read. I will absolutely scroll through these comments because they're priceless. So, I mean, and we understand that a lot of people are angry. We don't understand. We feel confused. Then we've got some glad-handers like, Brandon here. And just to fire up TJ, which I hate you for, by the way. I had him kind of calm down a little bit. And then you didn't just do the Horvat thing. Then you went to Romanoff. You hit every little button that you could push on TJ.
Imagine if I spoke about Taze to him.
You like the Taze trade?
No, I never said that. I
say then we agree because Taze was, yeah.
It's only if you disagree with him. If you disagree with him, watch out.
Frank says, TJ, you effing moron. We just beat Vegas. What the F is wrong with your brain? Okay. We beat
Vegas is on a slump, though. Their stars haven't been produced in the past week and a half either.
We beat Vegas in overtime in a game that was at home for us. Our strength of schedule, right? We start our strength of schedule in February is a little easier than what
much easier.
Let's say this is a good time for Lou to make that deal, though, because there's going to be a bump and we're playing some weaker teams. So maybe we can move into that final playoff spot. Maybe. Who knows?
Fuck. The other teams have so many games in hand. I highly doubt. We played the Penguins like 3 times in the next 10 or 12 games. So that tells you
the rest. That's for certain. Those old guys in the Penguins.
That's going to tell you how the season transpires. If you're losing those games against the Penguins, you're not making the postseason. Simple as that.
I think you have to come away with loser points as often as possible if you're going to lose.
Yeah.
3-point games. Just keep it at that if you're going to lose.
Yep.
Don't let it happen in regulation.
I got to pull up our updated strength of schedule to see where that lies.
Oh my God.
What?
February and early March are pretty easy for us, apparently.
You've got
the closing stretch is brutal for us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got the 9th hardest strength of schedule, so we go through an easy time period here in February, and then we're going to probably go back to one of the toughest schedules in the NHL.
Monica Burdock says, why do these guys sound like Ricky Bobby? If you're not first, you're last.
Hold on. That's exactly what the NHL – in any professional sport, if you're not winning the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup, you're not winning one of the cups, you're last. Exactly. It doesn't matter if, we came close. Nobody talks about coming close. We talk about winning. Anyway, Grumpy, man, you ready to wrap things up, buddy?
It's funny because, Monica's probably new to the show. She's a woman, which,
we have a lot of ladies who listen to the show, Grumpy.
Yes, 3 or 4. And we were
hoping every single one of them.
We were hoping we could keep Monica here, but she's probably bailed on us already. That's why, TJ, you were so irrational today. We could have attracted more listeners, but not with you and your diatribe. I think that cost us today. You're supposed to be the voice of reason on this show, and I'm supposed to be the crazy one. It's TJ and the grumpy old man. Remember?
Grumpy, just might as well just call me. I'm just being honest. That's it. Just being honest. I was honest all year this year too, and we've been right up to this point, and we're gonna be right on this one too. Just be honest, and you don't have to worry about playing a game or a trick or like some sort of act. Danila Grumpy says, "Do you think there's a possibility that Beauvillier re-sign
the
Islanders after this contract?"
Nope.
No.
I would say probably not as well. But let's do this here because we're about 3 hours in. We want to make sure everybody gets some dinner. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to relax, to unwind a bit. Brandon, let me ask you, I want you to give us your last pitch about what you like about it. Unencumbered. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm not going to rebut anything. And I want you to share. I want to give opinions as we're wrapping things up and what your thoughts are about things. Absolutely.
Okay. Worst case scenario. They missed the playoffs. They finished 14th or 15th. He walks. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you move other aged vets, recuperate picks, address other needs down the road. Horvat resigns 7 times 8.5. That's best case scenario. I hate giving up. I hate the fact that Raty had to go. I'm more upset about Raty than the pick necessarily, because for me, let's say the Islanders, I don't think they will, but let's say by some miracle they go to the second round. That first rounder will end up being in the 20s, so it won't be as high as, say, like last year per se. I think Raty has higher potential than where the Islanders would have made that pick if they kept it. So for me, I'm a little stingy on that. So it all depends on how things unfold. It all depends on who is given away going forward. It all depends on what picks they potentially could get going forward. If they don't do any of that, I give this trade an F-, like Grump did for the Palmieri trade. But this is probably worse than that if Horvat walks.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this. What are your thoughts of what's going to happen for the team the remainder of the season, right? We've got the NHL All-Star break, obviously, right now. What are your thoughts about what do you expect from the New York Islanders here right out of the All-Star break and for the remainder of the season?
So for me, if the Islanders are going to be a playoff team, if they're going to have any shot, because I know, Buffalo's got their games in hand. Pittsburgh, I believe, has a game in hand on us. I believe Washington has like one. They've had a sub 500 stretch. The Islanders have to go on a better stretch, obviously, than those teams. In fact, the easy schedule though helps with that cause and could get Horvat acclimated into the top 6 better. If your objective is to make the playoffs, that's what you have to hope happens. What I think will happen. I mean, TJ, you're not going to like this. I think we're going to get the last wild card spot and get bounced out by Boston in the first round. I think that's what happened. I hope I'm wrong. My brain says otherwise, but we'll see. Weirder things have happened.
There it is. Weirder things have happened. They certainly have. And don't like hearing that, but hey, I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were too. Unencumbered. But Grumpy, what do you want to say before we start wrapping things up?
I just wanted to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the grumpy old man, and I'm even going to throw Brandon in there too.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have a few comments from somebody who's also a Vancouver fan. They said Horvat has got. I'm just going to blast through these real quick, just because the person who watches them, I will usually take their word over somebody. Like I watch, Bo Horvat maybe like 5 or 6 times a year over somebody who watches him every day. They said his release is very quick. I never really liked Horvat. I can't really pinpoint it, but I've never really liked the player who can't pass. So again, hockey vision not necessarily there. His hockey IQ is just average. Phil Esposito was a way better all around the net because of his size. Horvat's hockey IQ just average, but his redirecting of pucks around the net has been stellar this year.
Ooh. Sound like anyone else we know?
Sounds a little bit like average.
I think he's going to be above average, though.
Okay, there it is. And Thomas Vanek throwback. Trade him if he doesn't want to resign, and if we're out of the playoffs by then. I mean, like in a month, it's tough to. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the show. For all of those of you who are new to the show, again, thank you so much for sticking around. We invite you to stick around a little longer. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. This show will be going live Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have Andy, I believe, will be on this Wednesday. I'll have to double check. But Andy, Grumpy, Andy, hey, now we might have 7, 8, 20 goal scorers now that we've added Bo Horvat, Grump.
And for those people who this is your first time listening, TJ's normally not as cranky as he is today. He's usually more even keeled, and I'm the wild, crazy, cranky one. But today I had to change roles because TJ was just ridiculous. Not to start the show, but certainly at the tail end.
Joe Honahan says negative Islanders talk. Yeah, I mean, what
he sells.
I understand. I understand it though to an extent. I see both sides of the argument.
What is there to be excited about right now?
I'm not. So I'm saying what could come after that. If this is all that happens, then we have every right to be freaking negative about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now and again, time will tell. Time will tell. I want to thank you, everybody, though, for tuning in. We'll see you guys this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, also, if you enjoy the content, the best way to let us know is by leaving a thumbs up. Apparently, it helps the algorithm. It helps get mine and the grumpy old man's word out to the masses.
One last comment. Pat Honahan says, LOL, if we win the cup this year, TJ and Grumpy need to cancel their YouTube account.
Sure. If they win a cup, we'll stop. We will. Here's the thing. If the Islanders win a cup, we'll never do another podcast again. If they win the cup this year, we'll never podcast again. We'll ride off into the sunset and we'll be happy and never say another word about the Islanders on a public platform. Sounds great, guys. I feel really confident the Islanders win the cup.
Gosh.
Can't tell.
Oh my gosh.
Grumpy, what are you going to do? Are you going to I'll shave my head. Grumpy, what are you going to do if the Islanders win a cup this year? I love when always fans do this. Where it's like, if the Islanders win a cup this year, what will you do? We just continue to raise up how ridiculous the bets are going to be.
I just want to say that Son X will be joining the TGA and the Grumpy Old Man show starting this Thursday evening.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He'll be on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show this Thursday evening. That will be 9 p.m. Thursday evening. You could find that in the link in the description below or as a featured page on our YouTube channel, Grumpy Old Man.
I predict that will be bad news for TJ in the long run.
Why is that going to be bad news for me, Grumpy?
Because he's mean. You know that.
Because he's super.
And there's no restraining bolt from Son X when he's picking on you. Just none. And you can't beat him up.
What do you see about that? What do you think about that, Brandon? About that logo, that logo there for TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Grumpy Old Man always notices something about it, but I want to see if Brandon notices it.
Well, I don't see the T entirely for the TJ. So let's see. Hold on. It's an ampersand. The Grumpy Old Man
See, nobody complains about my name being so much bigger than yours, Grumpy. Nobody complains about
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Why is that such a big name compared to Grumpy Old Man? Why is that?
It's like, yeah, it's like I'm like the little fine print at the end of a contract.
Yeah, he's the MVP of the show. How dare you undermine that? Come on, man.
It's such a given that people just overlook it now. They can't see the big thing because they're too busy looking for something small. But it's right there. Bam.
Unbelievable.
TJ. And the Grumpy Old Man.
Unbelievable.
And the Grumpy Old Man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for what's up? It's Dave. Sorry we didn't get to see everybody's comments, but we usually get through all the comments, guys, or we try to at least our best. Sorry we did not get to do that this time.
Tough to do when we have guests on the show. Very difficult.
Well, yeah, because we want to make sure that the conversation, I feel like you guys enjoy good conversation more than going through all the comments. So, but thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and leave a thumbs up if you like the content. Thank you again so much, Brandon. And
even if you don't, still give us a thumbs up. I don't care.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bullshit, DJ, you're slipping is what he says. Patrick H says, does Brandon have a channel? Brandon,
yes, I do, actually. I'm actually 1/4 of the AFIP, another Islanders podcast, hosted by myself, the human Wikipedia, the Devontae's Mourner Mike Moisa, the Islanders attorney Eric Vogel, and the internal Islanders optimist John Dabrowski. We actually recently did an episode last week speaking about how shitty the Islanders were playing the past 4 weeks, because we finally got the band together for the most part, and we should actually be doing an episode, I believe, over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to be rolling. It's crunch time now.
Hold on a second. I'm about to get this pulled up. I think
some of the episodes are on, all the episodes are on Spotify. All but 2 of the episodes are on YouTube.
Okay, here we go. I've got it. Hold on a second. I like the YouTube. Here it is.
I love the logo. Very creative.
I like the letters where it's just another with a whole bunch of asterisks next to it. Islanders podcast there, Grump, is where you could find there, Brandon and the gang.
We do some trivia occasionally. We play a few games. We play a few one-word responses to describe certain players. We do it for fun. I think it's pretty entertaining. We've been touching with StreamYard recently, so we could do more of this live as opposed to the pre-recording.
Yeah.
So, more exposure the better.
That's right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Oh, Grumpy, hold on. We got to let you read that last one there.
TJ never promotes Isles Misery Rated R.
You never do.
The listeners come from our group. It's true.
He's
shameless. But you would think, the way TJ's talking, he's part of that group now.
I remember stuff, TJ. I never remember you once promoting that podcast. I remember when you said Anders Lee was a better player than Patrick Kane. I remember this stuff.
You remembered it. You remember that, right? You remember
Yes,
that.
I do. Yes, I do.
Anyway, thank you so much both of you tonight.
It's true.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, for those who are angry like me, you just got to try to relax. You got to try to unwind a bit, sleep on it. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Grumpy Old Man. We'll see you guys Wednesday at 8 p.m.